Joining our Eplan Live channel here at the Rockwell Automation Fair at Home. We hope you're enjoying your day. Today, our conversation is focused around being partners in success. So today we have our guest, who is Jeff Kilburn, Managing Director from Eplan, Özlem Bieber, who is Account Manager at Eplan, and Jim Armstrong, who is the Automation Manager at Revere Electric. Revere Electric is a powerhouse distributor and partners of Rockwell Automation. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to the team to let them introduce themselves and get started.
Thank you. I'm Jim Armstrong, Automation Manager at Revere Electric.
Yeah, Jeff Kilburn here, Eplan Managing Director, Eplan USA.
And I'm Özlem Bieber, Account Manager at Eplan USA. And I'll get us started here, and I'll start with you, Jim. Eplan and Revere Electric has been partners for the better part of the year, and Revere Electric is actually Eplan's one of first channel partners. And so can you, for our audience, can you give us an introduction to Revere Electric and its mission?
Yeah, thanks, Özlem. Revere Electric is a fourth generation family-owned business, a distributor, electrical distributor with 10 locations. We serve Northern Illinois, primarily northeastern Illinois, Northwest Indiana, South Central Wisconsin, so kind of the Chicagoland, Milwaukee markets. We have a broad line of manufacturers, 300 plus manufacturing lines that we carry. One of our premier lines, and Debbie mentioned it at the core of the intro, is we're a authorized Rockwell Automation distributor. How we differentiate ourselves in the market is we're a solution-centric provider. You know, being that we're not a Rockwell distributor, automation is at our core, correct? But we also provide solutions on inventory management, motion control, safety, connected enterprise, green, and switchgear and lighting. So pretty broad base. And we serve a real mix of customers, OEMs, system integrators, and end users. Our mission at the end of the day is to deliver innovative, industry-leading, customer-centric solutions, really with our products and services to the industrial automation and electrical construction market. And we're excited to be a partner with Eplan because our partnership with Eplan, when you look at what I just said and how it fits into our value proposition to our customers, we're excited about that. And you're right, we've had a very exciting 6 months kicking it off last spring, right? So very excited.
Absolutely, it's been a great ride for sure. And Jeff, I know you had a prior relationship with Revere Electric before coming to Eplan during your 25-year successful tenure at Rockwell Automation. Can you tell us a little bit about what was your strategy for approaching to Revere Electric to become our channel partner, and why did you think that the two companies made a great match?
Yeah, well, I've known many of the great leaders at Revere Electric and for a long time, for virtually my entire career at Rockwell. And even in my time with sales, I got even tighter with them because I supported the state of Wisconsin and really got to know the organization as a whole. And so I had this, obviously this, pretty good impression of a highly valuable partner in the market. You know, Revere is a premier organization. I think the whole market recognizes that. And certainly with Eplan becoming one of the founding members of Rockwell's digital partner program, it really made a lot of sense to have a common partner in the market like Revere Electric. And having a relationship with a lot of their leaders just made it a natural place to start. And so we started talking with the team, I guess it was a year ago last summer. And as we started having the dialogue about the value that Eplan provides to the customers in the automation market, and what Revere was trying to do and has been doing for a long time in the way of, virtually the support is unparalleled. It's virtually 24/7, 365, and they're a trusted partner of many customers in the market, and they're a market leading organization. I'd say a market making organization, and And so for all of those reasons, it made sense strategically to discuss this with them. And as we went about that, one of the things that became evident very quickly was, and Jim can comment on this, I'm sure, is that Revere was already on the path of helping their customers figure out how to do this digital transformation. It's an overused term. Yeah, we all know that, but it's a fairly accurate state of the market. And there are a lot of customers are, we're seeing them recognize the value of Eplan every day. But we just felt that with a partner like Revere, we could accelerate that effort. And with their relationships as a trusted partner in so many companies and their markets, that it was kind of a match made in heaven. And yeah, we signed the documents just as COVID hit. So lucky have it as it is. But I think it's still been a good start for us, and we're looking forward to the future. And I think for me, another piece of it was too just the whole, like I said, the Rockwell Digital Partner Program, but knowing the value. Rockwell's made a huge investment in their data sets within Eplan on Eplan Data Portal, and having a partner in Revere that can take the power of Eplan, the power of the Rockwell data set, the value we can provide, and pulling it all together for a customer. And with their expertise and what they deliver in the automation space, with all their knowledge about Rockwell and how they help customers in the market, it just made sense. Yeah.
Well, we complement the data set by having specialists. We have multiples of specialists that support all the different Rockwell products alone. There's other products in the data portal as well, but there's product selection. There's access into the portal, but it's, we also help with the selection of the products that get put into the design, the supply of the products. I mentioned the 10 warehousing locations. So not only having a product in a design, but is it available, readily available, and we have questions about it, how to use it. That's sort of that partnership. I'm glad you brought up the digital partner program and all the technology that's coming out from GTC through Rockwell. We're still learning in that area a lot. I think all of our customers are learning, but we're really hoping and helping our customers lead we're leading that dialogue with them to help move them down that digital journey. So we were excited that you approached this. I think it all kind of came to head a little bit last year at Automation Fair, with several discussions with your executive leadership and our executive leadership that I think really helped see what could be done. And like you said, we did a lot of work a year ago, a little less than a year ago, and then last spring hitting the ground running with a signed agreement. So I did want to kind of make a comment that I do think that the partnership, I mentioned the solution sales focus beforehand, and one of the things that when we think about our customer base, we have a deep engagement with our customer base with 40 plus account managers, which is a pretty strong sales force. But in terms of our technical team, we have between the Milwaukee markets and Chicago markets 30 plus automation specialists. So that's 70 some odd sales folks out there. And part of our task between myself and Jeff and Özlem on this phone is to really build that amplifier about what can be done. What can be done, what value can we bring to our customers given our combined efforts. So we're excited about it, and thank you for thinking of Revere and having these discussions so that we're now partners in this market.
Absolutely. I know that data portal is a huge value to our customers in terms of saving them time when it comes to creating part data, and Rockwell being one of the major contributors to data portal, that's all the more, makes that value all the more important for our customers. But there's one other aspect of our partnership that I think brings a good value and synergies to our customers, and that's the PLC data integration. And Jim, can you talk about a little bit how Eplan and Revere Electric partnership actually helps our mutual customers with their PLC data integration and with hardware designs in Eplan and PLC data integration in Studio 5000 and IAB.
So we have PLC specialists as being a Rockwell distributor, and so they're engineers that are in the market. They help customers every day determine what the appropriate hardware is, but also helping them with software. And what's kind of neat about Eplan is it really ties in a couple elements of that PLC automation programming environment. One is integrated architecture builder. We call it IAB. That's an early step in a controls process where you select everything from your controller to your network devices. You can check network traffic, things like that, things of that nature. Well, Eplan offers a link for IAB to be imported into Eplan to give the hardware designer a head start into what those preliminary thoughts were into the actual hardware design. But what's cool, again, about Eplan is while you're doing your hardware, you create your IO and your tags, your physical links to the physical world, but those can get translated into Studio RS Logic's, the programming environment. And there's so what Eplan does, along with our with the Rockwell ties and our specialists, really kind of makes that a cohesive design process from concept to programming. And what's we're excited about is we have a plan at Revere, Robert Janosiak. He's our Eplan specialist, Eplan leader. But what's neat about the IAB linkage, or the IAB and the linkage with Logix, is that it also pulls in all of our PLC HMI folks. So the folks that are traditionally selling control logics, compact logics, panel views, and helping customers with programming, they're actually helping sell and helping support Eplan with customers as well, because we're going to show, and we're showing customers how to save time throughout that whole process from concept to programming. I know Jeff mentions it, and we talk about it before, that what we're excited about Eplan is the whole from what do we call it, concept to commissioning, Jeff, is it? Or
Yep.
It helps that whole process out. And that, to me, is a great example of where the technologies help that out. The technology, but also the personal touch, the personal support from the wide range of specialists that we have.
And I think that's, to your point, Jim, that's really I think the power of working with Revere is that you guys can bring that whole value stream together with Rockwell and Eplan. And, we can talk all day long. You can show the customers that you're there in geography. You've got the specialists with all of the knowledge, both on the Rockwell side as well as the Eplan side now, with building up Robert's expertise. And you can really expand that reach to help the customers, from like you said, that initial concept to commissioning, even into a maintenance, and we've shown that, but you guys can really make it, I guess, jump off the page with the customer, that they can comprehend what we're talking about now. And it really expands, I think, and this was the interesting part when we approached you guys. It was interesting to see that you were already trying to do that, to reach earlier with the customers. You talked about selection, but there's this whole area of engineering of the design before it gets down to part selection that Eplan can provide a lot of value. And now you guys can help the customers realize that. And, Rockwell calls it the digital thread. And I think there's value in that, because today, and for the last, I don't know how many decades I've been in this business, a long time, as have you, Jim, been doing this for a while. And, customers are using various tools, but there's often opportunities where you have to either translate it via it's, from the electrical design to the PLC design or back and forth, and keeping those in sync, even if you're the same person, is a real challenge. And having that connection between Eplan and Studio 5000 or Eplan and IAB on the planning side, we're able to make that bi-directional and adds tremendous value to customers that they don't have to worry is the PLC in sync with the electrical schematic design and vice versa. And I think you guys, again, you bring it all together for a customer and help them realize the value that we talk about every day here at Eplan.
Yeah,
For
that's
sure.
for sure. Because one of the comments that I frequently get from our customers is that, needless to say, the PLC code, right, the programming gets updated on the factory floor first, but then updating the hardware designs kind of fall on the wayside, right? So even after installation and post installation, this is a way for companies to synchronize their, again, hardware designs in Eplan and PLC programming in Studio 5000.
Right.
For sure. I mean, we could go on for an hour about all the other features, but I think that really hits home in terms of resonating about the features, functionality within Eplan, but that tie into the whole system. That the system is bigger. So good. It's good, and we're excited about pushing the envelope there even further, and really helping folks that are using Eplan today to understand and gain that value. But also customers that aren't using Eplan to make them aware of benefits that they can gain by moving to Eplan.
Yeah. So ever since Eplan became an Encompass partner with Rockwell Automation back in 2008, this is the first year the Automation Fair is being held virtually. So it speaks to the times that we're operating in, right? A lot of companies, due to the pandemic, had to reevaluate every aspect of their business, how they're conducting their business, and find ways to, especially in our industry, find ways to cut time and cost in engineering design and panel build. Stay connected with their collaborators and all the stakeholders, and also continue to get vendor support when they need it and where they need it. So I know, Jeff, we had to pivot very quickly, didn't we, to adjust?
Yes, we did. Yeah, Aslam, it really, as we all know, it changed all of our personal lives as well as our business lives, and we're still fighting our way through this change. But as time's gone on, at first it was a kind of a very, not kind of, it was an extremely reactionary mode. And just as an example here at Eplan, we had to pivot from, in classroom training, and that's all we did, in classroom training and consulting with our customers, either at on their premises or at one of our locations, to completely virtual environment. So our virtual instructor-led training has been extremely successful. We actually made a promise to our customers that try it. If you don't like it, we'll reschedule you for an on-site training. This was early on at the time. And virtually nobody's taken advantage of that. Even as some of the restrictions lessened a little bit over time, everyone is very excited. And in fact, the feedback's been, we got really a lot out of this training, maybe more than an in-person, because it felt more one-on-one, more, it was faster to execute the training. So we didn't have to organize everyone getting to one location. And we got more one-on-one time with the instructor because it was virtual, and we could ask questions and we could have sidebars. And so we took really a quick reaction to this, pivoted very quickly, and what we found is this is the way forward. And we intend to do virtual training. We'll go on site or have our classroom trainings as the situation, hopefully, knock on wood, changes for us all. But virtual instructor-led training is going to be a big part of our future. When I think about and talk to customers about the challenges that they're having in their business, it's a lot of the same thing. How do we pivot really quickly? And there's been a lot of customers come to us. We need to execute an automation project or change our manufacturing. We need to develop, start building face masks or face shields or whatever it was. So there was a lot of that. Even some, some people in the paper market had to build toilet tissue for a while because you all remember the shortages we had. So
Right.
it was a lot of customers were also going through their own pivot, and what we saw was the challenges that were always there got a little bit more exposed with this. So challenges in working remotely and staying on the same page, whereas you could have a meeting and sit side by side on a table and look over a set of drawings or review the PLC program. You now had to do that all virtually. And so it put some burden on their entire organizations to, and I'd say broader, at Eplan, we talk about the ecosystem of industrial automation. It's really, all the players from the end user or operator that's running a factory to the OEMs and integrators that help them and whoever's building the electrical cabinets to the component and automation suppliers like Rockwell Automation to the channel like Revere. How do you keep all of those people in sync with each other? And so one of the things that we saw, and we've done a lot of I guess marketing around is the capabilities we have in the cloud. And we were building these from the beginning, but they became more important for certain customers, and the ability to have that that environment and that digital thread with Rockwell in a cloud environment to be able to share that became extremely valuable. And we've seen a lot of customers recognize that, and I guess the whole COVID thing has really been a catalyst for change. A lot of customers were thinking of this, but business has its own momentum, and this was a disruptor thrust upon us. And now we're seeing customers really embrace that change and think about, how do we do this in the future? How do we change the way we behave? And so we've seen it in our own business, and we see it now in our customers' business as well.
Well, certainly, I mean, it certainly causes you to rethink what you're doing. I give, right when we signed the agreement, in March, April, that's when all the stay-at-home orders were hitting.
Right.
And so a lot of our customers are, the engineers are working from home. Revere Electric warehousing stayed fully functional. We are a company that was allowed to stay open because of supporting vital businesses, food,
An essential company. Yeah.
Essential business, correct.
Yep.
So our warehouses have stayed fully functional throughout. But other than that, everybody went remote, which put a lot of pressure on, like you said, the digital connectivity, Teams, and things like that. And so, but what I found exciting was when it came to sharing Eplan's capabilities with customers. Özlem and I did a lot of Teams meetings with customers, and we were able to pull in resources from Michigan and from other locations that in some ways we've had more brain power at our customer meetings than us, than maybe traditionally, right? You get a call, when are you guys coming in from Michigan? But, because of stay-at-home orders and things like that, we can pull in a lot of resources, and we've had some great discussions and great demonstrations with customers. So that's a positive, right? The hard part is, and it has been a challenge, that when you're sitting across the table from somebody, you can see body language, and you can see, so there is a change that way. But like you said, moving forward, it'll probably be a nice mixture. I think nice mixture of in-person, but also people are more open to digital types of meetings, Teams and WebEx. But the other thing that I think it does hit home is, you mentioned it, Jeff, the digitalization of processes, whether it be sharing information over the cloud, just sharing information with a common design architecture that's not spreadsheets and disjointed processes. Being able to share a design digitally, becomes seamless when an engineers and panel manufacturers in different locations. So that part's been good, and I think our we're positioned well to have those discussions with customers, that this is an advantage for using Eplan and partnering with Eplan and Revere as you mentioned it, your engineering design ecosystem. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Well said.
So as we're about to wrap up here, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the current trends in the automation industry, and I was wondering what you guys are seeing in terms of what trends you're seeing out there, and our mutual customers should be paying attention to. Jeff, you want to start us?
Yeah, I mean, the trends are. I kind of mentioned it before. There is a trend, and it toward the cloud. Certainly, there's a lot of customers that have a different viewpoint on that. But look at our own personal lives, where we've got our own banking in the cloud, for instance. So on a personal level, we're getting more and more used to it, and I think the USA as a country in particular is on the forefront of a lot of that technology. And so we see that as, a natural trend. Not everyone's there yet, but we're ready there at Eplan. We're building more and more capabilities, and we see that as a long-term trend, and it just enhances the collaboration. If I look at today's environment, we email a lot of stuff back and forth, as Jim said, drawings and spreadsheets to execute an automation project. Is that secure? So you can, some people talk about the security piece, but I think it's a moving target, and this again is, I think, this situation is a catalyst for change. It enables a lot of customers to do that, to do a faster, which is really important. Certainly was important in the early days here, but it's always a challenge to do things at a faster pace. And so we see that as one of the key trends in the marketplace. And our goal is to be ready when our customers are ready. And we already have a lot to bring to bear. And working with a partner like Revere, I think helps us also to introduce that new technology and to talk them through their concerns, because people are rightly concerned about intellectual property and who has access to this, and and having a strong partner in the market that's a trusted advisor, like I said before, in Revere, makes all the sense in the world as customers are trying to figure that out for themselves. Yeah, one of the terms we use here at Eplan is the digital twin. With our ProPanel part of our solution, we offer customers a way to very quickly and efficiently develop a 3D model of their panel. And what that allows is a lot of customers to then step into the automation of panel building. So maybe, Özlem, you could share a few thoughts about that trend in the marketplace.
No, that's so true, Jeff, because Jim, really, this too, especially in our, conversations with our customers. We always talk about the time and cost savings, not during the design, but also in the panel shop as well, right? And digital twin is a way for companies to really virtually validate the enclosure that they're going to build before they actually build it, right? Make sure that all the spacing issues are taken into consideration. The doors will close. They'll see exactly how everything fits, but that's not where they really they need to stop. There's so valuable information captured both in the schematics and also the enclosure, the 3D enclosure layout that they can now use in production of that enclosure. So two of the ways that they can do is, and we're seeing many companies really considering, and quite a few of them actually have gone in this way, is to automate the enclosure modification, because when they're using Eplan, they can actually capture that drilling data in their 3D enclosure layout. And then this data can be exported out and then imported into a CNC machine, laser jet cutting machine, or water cutting machine. And then so that information, once it's important to import it into these equipment, then the enclosures can be modified automatically in these equipment. So that's a lot of time and cost savings as opposed to doing things manually. And speaking of using manual methods when building enclosures, and I see this all the time when I walk into panel shops, that many companies are using all manual methods to fabricate their wires, right? Cut, strip, crimp, label, measure the lengths, and they don't really need to do that. They don't even need to look at the schematics to capture all that information. It all can be printed out for them in a report format, but for more automated processes, they can actually export all this information, wire fabrication information, out of Eplan into their wire fabrication equipment. And so they don't have to manually enter this information, and certainly don't have to look through schematics. So these are, I think, the couple of trends that we're seeing, and panel builders really should look into more about it and consider to stay competitive, and in terms of saving time and costs on the panel shop.
That's right on the money, Aslam. I think, when I looked at panel building while I was inside Rockwell and now talking to all these customers, the numbers you'll see is that wiring, it represents about 60% of the cost of putting together an electrical panel. And so it's significant. And what you just described, I think, you can talk about a digital twin as a trend, but what's the value to the customer? And I think you pretty much nailed it. And they see that. And I think, Jim, you've seen that now that you've been interfacing with us together with the customers, that they see high value in this panel operations. Yeah.
And we're getting more and more requests for our panel modifications. We have in our warehouse in our facility in the Milwaukee area, we have a Steinauer machine that allows somebody to send us panel modification information. And our usages, we're seeing that go up.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing activity there. So good points, Osmond. We talked about one of them just before, the whole remoteness. So that's probably as big a trend that was maybe forced upon us,
Right.
The one I guess one I would highlight that we're seeing is, and I call it panel build strategies, however you want to phrase it. I think
Right.
the way that a OEM or a machine builder maybe used to do machines, they would probably focus to do it all in-house, right? They do their design and their panel builds. And I think that we're seeing panel build strategies evolve, change. People are buying fully assembled panels from a panel shop. People are still doing it in-house. People are doing a combination. Revere is heavily engaged in that whole panel build strategy, panel build, how to go from, again, concept to commissioning. We offer panel modification services. We have services in general, engineering services, design, some design services, and the ability to help with commissioning. And I think the more digital that you are, the easier it is to share information. And so we're seeing, again, I guess I just kind of summarize it with, I think how panels are built or how machines are actually built by an OEM is changing. People are having others do a lot more of the work, but even at a single OEM, it may be a mixture, where they do some in-house and farm some stuff out of house. So I think that's a big trend, and maybe that goes a little bit in line with just the general trend in the market about either aging workforce, aging engineering workforce, and just technical folks in general, that you're needing to leverage folks outside of your organization. And I think tools like Eplan really help with that, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having this great conversation. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today at Eplan Live. If you have any questions, you can absolutely go to either of our booths at the Rockwell Automation Fair at Home, the Eplan booth, or the Revere Electric booth, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm Johnny Wilson, and welcome to the August edition of the top 5 questions that was submitted to the Eplan Solutions Center. How can I draw a structure box with a recess? So I've got two structure boxes. The one on the left shows the designation in the structure box recessed with 90 degrees here. So how do I make the one on the right look like the same? So we need to check some settings first. So if we go to the options, and then settings, and then we're just going to go to the project and then the name of the project, and then in graphical editing under the general tab, we want to make sure the draw structure box with the recess is checked. So once that is done, then I just double click on the structure box and then I change the value from the left top outside at 0 degrees to the left top inside at 90 degrees like so. So if I click OK, then you can see that this now matches up. To make this setting apply for all the new structure boxes I inserted, I can just double click on it and I can just toggle one of the values. So I like to just change this from bold and then uncheck it, and you can see that now I can save this. So I'm going to give it a new name, so I'm going to call it demo default here, and then if I use it as default from now on and click OK, and if it already exists you can overwrite it like so. If I click OK, then I can insert a new structure box. I'm just going to give it the same name, so I'm going to call it skid and click OK. So you can now see that this one inserts like the other ones do. How can I create a macro project? So to create a macro project, the easiest way is to take a copy of the project you are working on. So here I'm going to go project and then copy, and then I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call this top 5 macros. And then I'm just going to go for only interactive pages and then click OK. And now I've got a copy of the project. The only thing I need to change to make this into a macro project is to right click and go to properties and change the type of project from schematic to macro project. When I insert an accessory in Pro Panel, how do I change the orientation? So I'm going to drag this terminal cover in here and snap it to the top, and you can see that the rotation of this accessory is correct. If I try and place it on the bottom, you can see that it does not rotate as expected. So you can manually rotate this by pressing Ctrl Shift and R and press it again to get it upside down. And then when I place it, you can see it's going to snap there correctly. We can make an adjustment to this macro, so it will always place the accessory in the correct orientation. So to do this, what I can do is I can cut this device from the cabinet, and it's going to ask me for a base point. I'm just going to use this one here. And then if I jump to my macro project, which I've got open here, I can go into this new layout space I have created and then just paste it. So it's going to ask me for a base point. It doesn't matter where this is. I'm just going to place it here. And then in the macro project, it's going to show me all the different mounting points on this device. And I can see this bottom one is the one I want to work with. And I can see that the Z-axis is pointing up and away from the device, and then the Y-axis goes up, and this one, the X-axis, goes to the right. So to rotate this, we can just click on the mounting point and go to Edit, Graphic, and then Rotate Around Axis. So the axis I want it to rotate around is the Z-axis, so I'm just going to click this one here and type 180 degrees. So once I do that, you can see the Y-axis is now pointing down. So when I insert the accessory, it will be placed in the downwards orientation. So once I've done that, I can right click and go on properties, and I'm just going to grab the macro name here. So I'm just going to select it all and copy. And then I'm going to go to this new layout space and go to properties down here. I'm just going to paste it in the macro name here. So I'm going to paste the name here also, and this is just because I like to organize it by the actual file name. So I'm going to hit OK. And then once I've done that, I can regenerate this macro. So I can go to project data, macros, generate automatically. Make sure you got the overwrite existing macro box checked and click OK. So now when I go back to my demo project and I place that same device, so if I go to devices, mine was MCB109, I can drag that over like so. And now when I place that tonal cover, I can see that it snaps correctly here and also here. So I don't need to manually rotate it now in the future. I've made changes to a macro, but when I insert the macro, I do not see these changes. I have a simple macro here, and I'm just going to regenerate it by going to Project Data, Macros, and Generate Automatically. Notice this is variant A. I'm going to go to my schematic project and insert this macro, and then place it here. I'm going to update this macro by taking a copy of it, and then I'm going to paste it below here. I'm going to make a simple modification to it. I'm going to make it 2 lights and wire these ones up here, like so. I'm going to change the variant to variant B, and then I'm going to regenerate variant B. When I insert this new macro, I should have the options of variant A and variant B, but notice how variant B does not have the additional light. So what is going on? So if I go back to my macro project, I can click on the macro box and right click and go to Select Associated Objects. As you see, only this first circuit is highlighted, so that is what is included in the macro box. We have a few options to correct this. One way is to select everything inside the macro box, like so, and then right click on the macro box and go to Assign Objects to Macro Box. So now when I right click on the macro box and go to Select Associated Objects, you can see everything is highlighted. We can also do it a different way. So if I go back a step and change this back to B, and I do my Select Associated Objects again, I'm back to my previous step. So another option is to double click on the macro box and to change this setting here, so Manual Object Assignment. If I uncheck that, Eplan will automatically include everything that is inside the macro box. So if I go to Select Associated Objects here, everything is now included. So I can regenerate variant B by going to Project Data, Macros, Generate Automatically. Okay, so now when I reinsert the macro, it should be functioning as I expect. So here's variant A and there is variant B. When I insert a macro with a placeholder object, how can I delete or hide these? So here I have a macro that I inserted from the data pool. It came with 2 placeholder objects that I can use to adjust certain values on this macro. Sometimes it's desirable to hide these, and to do that, the easiest way is to change the layer visibility. So to do that, let's go to the project data and then layer management. And the 2 layers that we're interested in is the macro layer here, so Eplan2020 and the placeholder object. So if I just scroll across to the right here and uncheck the visibility, and then also the property placement for the placeholder object down here, and this is Eplan551, I just scroll across and change the visibility, and then I can close out there, and as you can see they now turn gray. And if I go to view and then turn off invisible elements, now they are hidden.
Hi, my name is Ian Underhill. I'm an applications engineer with Eplan USA, working out of the Detroit office in Michigan. I hope you're enjoying your visit to the Rockwell Automation Fair at home. I would like to show you a piece of software from Eplan called ProPanel, which is part of the Digitize Your Panel Shop initiative. As I'm making the demonstration, if you have any questions, you can use the chat feature to ask those questions and we'll respond to you straight away, or possibly at the end of the demonstration. But for now, let's get started. Thank you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how that fits in with the Eplan world. So Eplan, the project Eplan, is this bottom line here that underpins all our different tools. So we have various tools like pre-planning fluid, electrical P8, which there's a demo going on with that one, Harness Pro D, and ProPanel, which is what I'm going to demonstrate. So all of these tools work on the Eplan project, which is the database. So having said that, let's look at ProPanel. So ProPanel is a 3D panel layout tool. It works generally with your existing schematics. So if I show you, I have this is an IEC project, but that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether it's IEC or an FPA style project. So I have a project here with schematics, with components in it that we use. And from that, we can generate a panel layout. So this is an example of such a panel layout. But to do that, first we've got to start somewhere, and we've got to start typically with a control panel. So let me demonstrate how we might add a control panel. So we do this in the layout space area. So I'm going to create a new layout space. I just right click in the layout space navigator, and it pops up a dialog here where I name the layout space. So I'm just going to call it demo, and I get to pick what structure identifier. So typically in this IEC project, we've named the panels A1, A2, A3, A4. So I would pick in the structure identifier where I want that to be, so that when I did a bill of materials, it would know where to assign these parts. So if I did a bill of materials for panel A1, for example, it would know how to assign those parts. So I'm not going to select anything because that's not necessary at the moment. Then we're going to go panel. So this is a blank layout space, a 3D environment. And for the panel, I'm going to use a retail panel. I will show you quickly that included in Eplan ProPanel, you have access to the data portal. So that's where I'm going to find my control panels. The data portal, again, is probably being demonstrated in one of the other rooms. But basically, it's a cloud-based repository for manufacturer's data. The manufacturer owns the data, supplies it to Eplan, and we just store it in a place where they can, where it's stored, and we can get access through from within Eplan. So I picked retail. I actually went and searched for a housing. So we can see there's all sorts of enclosures from retail. You could search, if you knew the part number, you could search for it. You can actually, there's a configuration tool with Eplan through retail that you can configure a panel, and we'll look at that briefly later. But I picked a panel. You could, once you found a panel, say for example, if it's this one, this one's got some accessories. You can download them all into a shopping cart and download everything. The panel I selected, I'll show you my shopping cart earlier. So I downloaded a particular control panel, which is It's a freestanding enclosure. I can't remember, it's in amongst this lot. But as you can see, there was a load of accessories that came with it. So there's the panel I picked, 1000 by 1800 by 400 mil TS enclosure with all the accessories that are related to it. So there's 107. And then I downloaded them. I'm not going to do that now because obviously it'd take a little while and you don't want to sit watching my computer work. But once I've got downloaded, once I've got the part in the parts database, which is what that does, I can just select from the menu. This is a menu to insert an enclosure. And this is the one that I downloaded earlier. So here's the panel. Gives me a little bit of information about it. So it's a rental cabinet with two doors at the front. So that's the one I'm going to use, and I select OK. And there's my panel, and I can just place it in my environment. It offers me a second one. So if I want to place the second one to bay them together, I can do that. And you see it gives you tools so you know how to line them up correctly. So I'm going to just put the two in here and then hit escape. So now in my demo, I've got two enclosures and we can see the different parts of the enclosures. I can show you the mounting panels, showing you the doors. If I want to add items to the doors, I'm going to show everything again. And I've got my control panel. I probably need a few accessories. These are a bayed pair of control panels. So I probably want a plinth. I certainly want side panels on each of these. So I'm going to select the one panel, go into the accessories. And here we see when I downloaded all those 109 parts, they're all tied together with this panel. So it knows what's available. So I want a wall. I'll pick the wall, and there's some different options. So I'm going to pick a screw fastened side panel. I don't want it so you can open it and lockable. I just want it screwed on. And I want, for this one, I want it on the left. So I select that particular one. And then I add it to the list here at the bottom by selecting the down arrow. And I'm going to put a 200 mil plinth on this one. So here's the plinth, the base assembly. I select it and add it in. And I think there is a intermediate panel. I'm going to select one of these intermediate panels. I want it on the right. This one. Select OK. And you see it automatically adds it in the right place. The model is set up with mounting aids so that it knows how to connect the side panel and the plinth. And I'm going to do the same again for this panel. Again, go to the accessories. Again, I'm going to pick a wall. This one, I want it to be on the right. And I'm going to pick the plinth, the 200 mil. So add that one first. And the plinth, add that one. Okay. So there you see quickly how you might put the panel together that you can then start laying it out. And if I just quickly show you, I show only the mounting panels, you see it's added that infill panel. So I can place ductwork and components right across the panel. So that's how you might pick a panel. I'm not going to do this, is obviously a very big panel. So I'm going to pick one a little smaller to demonstrate. Let's get rid of that one. I'm going to pick a panel that already exists within this project here. So I'm going to, again, select new. I'm going to call it
RAF2020X1, if that's the name of it. Description, there's a junction box layout, and here I get to pick the structures. So here's the structure that I've got, the different enclosures, and here's the one that I would like to do. I want to do this terminal box. So it now knows anything that I place in this space is relative to that. So again, empty layout space. Let me add just a little junction box. And the particular one I want to pick, I'm going to pick this one here. So it's a 400 by 400 junction box with no mounting plate and without any glam plates. And I place that. Just want the one. What it does need is a mounting plate. It's got no mounting plate. So let me add that from accessories. And we see there's just one mounting plate. So there's my mounting plate in my box. Now I'm ready to start placing components. So let's look at it from the front, and we don't need to see any of the rest. We just need to see the mounting panel. So I'm going to first go and place some ductwork. Again, from the toolbar, I can select ductwork, and I have just a few items. Again, they're Rittel parts, but there are companies like Panduit and Tahalit that have duct available on the data portal. I'm just going to pick this one, which is nominally a 1 inch by 3 inch duct. And you see instantly it puts the grid up because it knows we want to place this ductwork on the grid, or have the option to. So I'm going to select here. So these grids are 10mm grids, and you can see probably from the cursor that tells me the position of the point I'm selecting. And then I've just dragged the grid across. Now I could just randomly select one of these grid points, but I want this to be neat. It's 20mm in from the edge on the left. I want it to be 20mm in from the edge on the right. So I select my placement object options and I select -20. Now I can pick the edge, and you see there it's placed the right-hand end 20mm from the edge of the panel. Now I want another piece, and it needs to be the same size of that, so I can use the dot length tool. I can pick this, and now I've got a piece of ductwork that's exactly the same length. So I'm going to place that there. And then lastly, I'm going to place some ductwork going down. And use the A key to shift it. And the same here. So you see, very easily I've placed my ductwork. Next, I'm going to do add some mounting rail. Typically, most times we're using DIN 35 mounting rail. So we have some mounting rail. That's the only one I've got available. Again, a Rittel component, but there are other manufacturers available in the data portal. And once again, I probably want a little bit of space. I don't want to be butted up right against the ductwork. That makes it difficult for the guy putting it together to fit it in. So I'm going to use the placement options tool to give myself a 4-meter gap. I can select the center, and again, placement options, and -4. So there's the ductwork. Now we need to start adding the components. And actually, maybe I want to move this down a little bit, so I'm going to move that down there, and I can adjust the length with my change length tool. I'll change the length of that one because I think I might struggle to fit the parts in. If you were doing it, you'd pay attention to what size of the parts were before you maybe made the ductwork. So there's my layout. If I go into a navigator we have, so in parts and devices and the 3D mounting navigator, this gives me a list of all the components, all the areas where the components are. Obviously, again, I don't want to search through this, so I can use a filter here, the mounting location, and I can either type it in or I can select from the list. I'm going to select this one, and it gives me a list of all the items from the circuits that need to be mounted. So you see it's added this particular item, which is the box, and here's the back plate, and then each of the bits of ductwork. So it's added that, so if I do a bill of materials, that information is available. I have one component here, which is actually some PLC device. I can select it, and I can just drag it and drop it in. That's simple. Now I just realized I actually want another piece of ductwork here, so maybe I'll give myself enough space. So let me add another piece of mounting rail. I'm going to select OK. I'm going to make the mounting rail match the length of this. I'm going to place the mounting rail here. And now I'm going to put the last components on. In this particular schematic, WD is the identifier they give to cables, so I'm not going to place a cable in here, but I am going to place terminals, and this is the terminal. XD is the identifier for a terminal strip, and I can drag the whole terminal strip. It will ask me if it wants to place the whole terminal strip. I can say yes. And there's the first terminal strip and the second terminal strip. And as you can see, I've identified the different terminals styles for the graphic and the partition plates, the end barriers, and end clamps, as you see. Really easy. And if we look at it as a whole now, obviously you can see you can work out clearance. My terminal's a little bit close to the bottom of the panel there, so I'd probably want to adjust that. But you can see the clearance available. You can actually measure it if you need to. So it gives you a lot of useful tools. So the last thing I want to show you before we run out of time, so it's taking me a little while longer than I expected. Typically, you're going to want to show this diagram in the schematics, so someone can understand what it is that they're looking for or looking at. So if I go into my schematics, and I'm going to go to this area, the model view area, and I'm going to add a new page. I'll make it page number 1. I'm going to say it's the B1 X1 panel layout, and select OK. Here's a blank page. All I need to do is insert a model view, and I'm just going to do 2. The first one, it names it for me, asks me what layout space I want to look for. I'm going to pick this X1 junction box, and here it says, well, what do you want to display? I just want to show the mounting panel. Now I'm going to give myself an isometric view of that and select OK. So there's the view. I can also do the same model view. Pick the same component, again, just the mounting panel. Lines fit. And there we see. It's not labeled as terminals because I've not asked for it, but it has labeled each of the other items, and you can adjust that as you might want to. So that's basically it. That's a very quick and down and dirty demonstration of Eplan. The one thing I will show you, let me, and I'm going to just quickly, because this is something that you will do. If I'm just going to show you the mounting panel, if I happen to move this device, I need to close and then open that sheet back up again. It recognizes that the model is not up to date. So all I need to do, and this would apply if I'd added more components, change the components, as well as just move them around. I go to Utilities, Reports, and Update. And there it is, there's the updated layout. So once you've generated this, you don't have to go back and generate it. And in actual fact, you can create these automatically as a report like you would a bill of materials if you set it up. That's the most of the demo. It's a very quick introduction to ProPan. It's a very, very powerful tool. You can do things like exchange panels. So if I found I didn't have enough space in here, I can exchange the part. If I wanted a different panel of a similar size, I could change the panel. I've got one where I could change this to a panel that has gland plates on the side, exactly the same part, and it's just a straight swap. Something that would take you a lot more to do if you were doing this manual environment or maybe another tool. You can do heat calculations from it because it's capable of working how big the panel is. You can tell it what the parameters are for the control panel, the external temperature, what the ambient is, what the max internal temperature should be. It knows from the components how much heat they generate, so it's able to calculate a total power dissipation, which for Rittal, then you can add that information directly into the Rittal therm calculation tool, and it will offer you an appropriate cooling solution if necessary. So that's it. Do you have any questions?
So he says this may have been addressed in one of the other sessions, but is Eplan capable of letting users know when something is missing? I'll let Ian take this, but the simple answer is absolutely. And I think, Ian, you can go ahead and kind of show him all those check marks and when something is missing.
Yes. So in basically, yes. This is a neat little tool, as you see. All the items that I know need place in our place, the check mark shows me there. If I deleted an item, it would stay in the list, but the check mark would go away. So, on a very simple basis, yes. There are also tools available. Eplan has got this check run option. So you open the messages and you go check the project. And I won't bother checking it, but I'll just show you. There are some specific checks for the 3D layout. So things like, is the part completely outside the mounting surface? So if you try to mount an item off the mounting surface, and you saw that was highlighted in with a grid, it would identify. Mounting clearances, are they observed? So for things like VFDs, where you have a a certain clearance typically above the VFD. Often they can be placed next to each other, but you typically have a clearance above them. You can check for those sort of things. And as you see, there's, without going through them all, there's 69 different checks, one of which was no part assigned to the placement. So you place something and you haven't got a part information. Various different informations, checks about what's in the just the 3D layout there, as well as obviously all the other checks that would check your schematics as well. The other thing, if I actually show you, let me find. I think this is a good one. So one of the things, if I look at the front, let's hide the door. So we don't need the door. So I can do things. If I go to the view, I can, for example, I look at mounting clearances, and you see here, here's the clearance that's required for this. It's an SEW Movitrack VFD. So they can be placed close together looking at this, but they need a certain amount of clearance at the top and the bottom. And that clearance comes direct from the part. This part comes from a manufacturer that's downloaded from the data portal. So this information isn't just randomly something we've typed in. This is what the manufacturer has said is the appropriate clearance for this device. And if I made it such that something was in the way, either another component or the ductwork, that error checking would identify that. I'll turn that clearances off. I can also view the thermal design. So let's have a look at the power dissipation density. So now you see the items that dissipate the most power are the most red. Items that dissipate the least are blue. So these orange, the most circuit protectors are somewhere in the middle. This item that dissipates a little bit. It's not. It's just on a general scale in terms of a percentage. Because this is red, doesn't mean it's dissipates loads. It's just the most within this panel. So the difference between this and an item that's yellow is purely sort of percentage. This being 100%, the item that dissipates the most heat, and obviously something that's blue being an item that dissipates the least. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. Be sure to pop by the Eplan booth at the Rockwell Automation Fair at home and enjoy the rest of your visit. Thanks very much. Have a great day.
Welcome to Automation Chat. I'm your host, Teresa Hauk, Executive Editor of the Journal from Rockwell Automation and our partner network magazine. Today I'm talking with reps from Eplan Software and Service, Jeff Kilburn, Managing Director of the U.S. Business, and Thomas Michaels, Global Director with Eplan's Cloud Business Software. We're going to talk about stronger needs for electrical engineers to have remote capabilities because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now let's chat with Jeff and Thomas. Hi, gentlemen. Thanks for talking with me today. I'm happy to dig into this topic with you guys.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi.
So let's start with, I'm wondering, this year especially, many companies have been launched into change, obviously, and engineering processes can be challenging enough to update, and now they need to add a remote element to their workflows. So how have your users reacted to this shift, and how have you supported that?
Well, I guess the first comment I would make is what we've seen, and we've seen this even in our own business, is that it really, it was so drastic and so immediate that, it really kind of exposed some underlying and existing challenges that we've always had that maybe we just never got around to addressing. And, as an example, we had to shift from a complete a way of doing business in the fact that we deliver all of our services, our training and our consulting services direct to our customers in a classroom environment, either on their premises or on ours. We had to shift completely to online. And so we saw the challenges that we had, and we hear customers saying very similar things in their own business operations.
I think that the situation makes some point very obvious, so that it's I think extremely important to think about these things or the topics of digitalization. So because the people and our customers are now forced maybe to work in a distributed environment, for example, and that makes it even more really accelerates the thinking in working in a digital environment, so that everybody gets the information he needs and that a distributed collaboration is possible. So therefore they also have to rethink the way they work, and they adapted it quite quickly. So they really, as you said, Jeff, they accepted these online services quite well, and within these services we learned a lot, that they are really quickly switching from working all together in one side in the office to go distributed and really work together in a more digital way. So online and in distributed workspaces.
Obviously it was an immediate shift, and it was very reactionary. We're now taking, and I see our customers taking the chance to now learn from what we've been through and think about what we've done, what worked, what didn't work, and adapt. And I see some very creative thinking. I also see some customers taking the opportunity to actually really enhance and embrace the change that was thrust upon us. And to, as you said, Thomas, really rethink what they're doing and say, this worked. Let's pull that thread a little bit more. Let's see what else we can do. And they're getting very creative about the ways they're doing things, and the change that they see going forward is very exciting for many of them.
So they're using new tools and new processes that actually benefit them whenever this ends.
Yeah, I mean, just as an example, Teresa, the reaction we've had to the online services we deliver is it's maybe counterintuitive that they feel closer to us, that we can spend more time with them, that we're faster to respond. We don't have to fly someone somewhere. They don't have to travel to a common location. So the speed and believe it or not, the intimacy they get, even through the digital, has been welcomed by our customers, and they by and large, it's been a great experience they've told us through feedback that they like this. And so we intend to change our business, and we see many customers changing how they're going to do business in the future.
And many teams are supportive and teaching progressive behaviors for their electrical engineers, so cloud-based platforms are a natural upgrade. But what about the folks who are skeptical about working in the cloud? Does this happen a lot? and what are some of the challenges they're facing?
I think one very obvious aspect is, of course, that when it comes to this topic of cloud, people often, or our customers often, think about their intellectual property and the risk that maybe information is leaving the company that should not, for example. And so I think it's a major topic, really, not to think about just, okay, cloud because it's a nice and fancy technology and it's just a technology. It's really about the added value for the user and for the customer. So if you can explain that, for example, bringing up, let's talk about electrical engineering and the project data, the typical automation documentation in a cloud environment, and therefore makes it much easier to collaborate. And now, again, referring to your first question, move a little bit away from the comfort zone, sending around things by email or whatever. Now have really the step to have it globally available, makes it much easier to collaborate. And then it's, again, the added value and the risks, so to say. And now it makes people to think about what they are already doing in cloud-based. Maybe all the financial transactions, etc., are done in web services and online banking and so on. And now they really also make this to adapt it to their working environment quite easy. Yeah? And of course, it's a stepwise approach. It's not from now to then to really make it in one step, but really think about different tasks they have to do, workflow scenarios, collaboration scenarios, and then really put the cloud services in that really support these things better than local things. Yeah.
My comment here to add on to what you just said would be that, with the crisis that we've been put through here, continuing to go through, people are rethinking that balance between risk and benefit and what's the value. And they're seeing the value because necessarily so we had to do some things, and they involve things like what we're doing today here. And I think also, it's a long-term trend. As you said, our own personal situation. I mean, I get notification when my credit card gets charged for anything, whether my wife likes that or not. That's the truth of it, right? It's immediate, it's accurate, and you think in the engineering world, the analogous is, we're emailing spreadsheets and drawings back and forth, and what's the most current, and the delays and mistakes that are involved there. If you can have, and we hear this more and more from customers, a single source of truth that everyone can collaborate on, that's accessible from anywhere, it's of high value. And they're seeing that in this pandemic arena where we've had to adapt. And I think now minds are more and more open, and they're reevaluating this risk-reward situation with cloud.
Yeah, here in the publishing world with our magazine, The Journal, we switched to cloud a couple of years ago, and there was some rumbling at the time. But now everyone's like, how did we function without it?
Yeah.
It's so much more productive.
Yeah. I think we already made the steps, or customers do these steps already when they want to get data. So when, for example, I just pick out something where we're also in deep collaboration with Rockwell as well, so that we say we have this data portal to provide component data that is maybe the smallest unit in an automation project. Everybody is already somehow familiar with downloading that data and get it from a central spot. But again, sharing the project data, so the own IP, this is maybe a next step. But now people are somehow a little bit forced to do this because they now work distributed, and maybe they have a redlining process that cannot be done in the office, quick with a view on the monitor. They have to share the data. And now they get open to think about, hey, when I get data via cloud, I can also distribute it. Of course, control the access to the data, but then I can speed up my workflow. Yeah, so that is, I think, just a thing that is pushed, by this current situation.
Yeah, and when you talk about speed, it's it goes from you can draw different value just from the planning stages where you're cooperating on what is the automation solution going to become, through the building stage, even through the the runtime and operation and maintenance phases where you can do, we always have the challenge of, as built drawings. How about as commissioned as service drawings? And the cloud technology can enable that. and can maintain that record of single source of truth. And just the sheer speed and accuracy delivers an amazing value to customers, and it really changes that risk-reward behavior or thought process. And the other comment I make in this is I also think that the younger people have grown up with this technology, and they're much more adaptive to it. So as we see the demographic shift, I think the adoption is going to accelerate. And given this change that we've been through, it just is the catalyst for this dramatic, I think, shift in speed to move to more cloud solutions.
Yeah, and as you talk about speed, that's an important point. There are some manufacturers who have kept their plant floors busy by producing products that support the COVID-19 pandemic efforts. Good for them. But in turn, their electrical and automation suppliers also have had to really ramp up production. So how do you see the market adapting to this faster pace?
It's a challenge, I think in the months that we've gone through here since the pandemic hit, we've seen some people that had to ramp up really fast to meet a critical need. You can think of toilet tissue and some food products and things like that. People eating at home more and things, but then that spike is now calmed down. So we've seen dramatic increases in urgency needs. We've also seen people that are on the other end of the spectrum that had to cost control. So we've seen it all over the board, but the ability to react fast to a changing environment and is really driven home some differences and changes in behavior. And so this idea of how do we keep control of what's going on, but also enhance the collaboration and keep in contact with everybody, it's been a continuous challenge for everyone involved.
I just want to add one aspect that I think you ask how the customers react or how they try to cover this change of speed. I think it's also always necessary, and we get this customer feedback extremely, that they say, okay, we need somehow steps, so small steps. It's not the maybe months or for even years running projects, and then they say, hey, we finally have an outcome. So it's the small steps to have first effects and first positive speed ups in the engineering process, and therefore it's, I think, also a little bit connected to this cloud topic or to the app topic, that we say, hey, we have dedicated tools for special steps in the engineering workflow, and this can be implemented quite fast. And then, of course, you have also the effect already. Yeah, you can feel it. Yeah, what is it really? What is the added value in the process? When we think along a value chain, that we have a lot of different people working together in such an engineering process. It's not only about the availability of data, but it's also about the way how you present and how you offer the data to an engineer. Needs totally different appearance of the data than a guy in the workshop, for example. Yeah. So and this is also a thing what we are really stressing, that we say, okay, the one is working together, but the other thing is the availability of the data and the presentation of the data. Because if you make something more complex for a guy who wants to be part of a digital workflow, you will not have the effect in speeding up this thing. Yeah. So and therefore it's really critical, and it's really important to involve these people and present the data how they need it, and maybe how they are used to work with the data.
Yeah, and it seems like there are some companies out there who might not be ready for a full set of automated processes. Do you think there are enough options that also support the traditional methods that many teams rely on?
I mean, kind of building on what Thomas said, when I think about automation of processes, that's always desirable because there's a lot of, efficiencies involved in that. But certainly I think everyone is always and continues to strive to just to develop standardized forms of how they do their work and their workflows, and everyone's on that path. What's a challenge, and I think, again, going back to the previous discussion we had, with this crisis thrust upon us, we all have to work remote, as we've seen some of the limitations of the tools that we've been using for the past 35 years. where you know you're emailing spreadsheets and drawings back and forth versus viewing a set of data, or being able to keep that thread of data from one discipline to another. And these are what modern tools can help deliver, and that eventually leads to automation. But there's to the point of your question, Teresa, there are lots of steps to be done here, and we see customers that are now have seen the advantages of some of the new technologies, and are, I think, ready to reevaluate. Okay, it's time to actually make a move here, and there's lots of steps to take them from where they are today to get them to where they want to be, to a more automated future. And I think about Eplan and Rockwell just as an example in the automation space. One of the challenges is always to keep the electrical engineering and the control engineering for the PLC program and HMI program, to keep that all in sync. Whether you're doing it all yourself or whether there's a couple of different people involved, it's always a challenge to transfer that data and keep that continuity there. And that's a predecessor to any kind of automation. You have to have that continuity of data and standardize the way you're working. And so that's what I think we have a lot of customers that are now taking that step on the journey, where maybe time or just necessity didn't allow them to take those first steps in that process.
Yeah. I think the overall somehow the approach is generally really to understand what is the current situation or the current workflow, and maybe the most challenging things inside the customer's workflow, and then really together with the customer to define these first steps. Mm-hmm. But not only the first steps, but also the goals you want to reach, and then really go ahead and maybe it's first of all, it's just to make the customers aware of solutions, as you described, Jeff, that are already available in the market, and are maybe just based on interfacing that offers better collaboration, or just takes away some standard work from people re-editing data or whatever. So really start with small things, and as I said in my maybe beginning of my speech, to say, hey, it's not to build up these big ideas of maybe just pressing a button and the automation system is done. It's a long way, and it's really doing step by step. Yeah, and maybe the first steps are really using tools that maybe improve parts of the project, makes it easier to exchange data. And then, as I said, motivation is coming by first positive effects, and then the people really they want to grow and go ahead because they are motivated because of the benefit they really feel in their daily business.
Yeah, and I mean I see with automation, standardization has to necessarily come first, and many of our customers have been on that path for a long time. What some of the new modern tools offer, and the collaboration, for instance, between Eplan and Rockwell, is to avoid that copy paste of the past, or that re-entry of data from one discipline to another, and to really start from building blocks. Yeah, and whether it's a set of common code or common circuits, or even just a common parts. As you mentioned, the Eplan data portal as a source for customers, to get that quickly, to make, to have it always up to date and accurate, and to build it from common standardized pieces. Those are the step-by-step processes to get you from where you are today to a higher level of let's say, efficiencies and toward a more automated solution development. And customers, we see them on all sorts of parts of that path, and that's what we do every day, is to help the customers to find their own unique steps as they move forward.
Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you. It was really a pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you, Teresa. Our pleasure.
Hello, my name is Debbie Raimundo, and I am the marketing lead for Eplan USA. Joining me today are some team members out of the Houston office, who are Alessandro Biondi, Kruno Kanohorsky, and Reem Elasu.
Okay, speaking about best memories with Eplan, obviously it's always great if you see customers succeed. Right? On a private base, what Eplan offers us is a lot of traveling. I've been in my life with Eplan already at 11 different countries. It's data for customer visits, for fairs like the Rockwell Fair, or for company meetings. If I have to summarize what the best memory was at Eplan, when I first traveled to the United States and saw the Chicago skyline for the very first time, then I thought, yeah, I'm here.
All right, so if you ask me what is my best memory working at Eplan, well, that's actually a tough question to answer because I have too many memories to share. But the top two, I would say, the global sales meeting that we had last year in Germany. So that gave us the chance to meet the Eplan colleagues from all over the world. So Eplan China, Brazil, Germany, France. So yeah, it was very good to meet all the people behind the screens coming from different countries, see what they do and what they recommend from their side. The second good memory that I have is actually for my team here in Houston, when I was pregnant and I was craving Chick-fil-A all the time. So I made the guys go to Chick-fil-A every other day to have the same thing for at least 3 months and no one complained. So yeah, I'm definitely blessed to have these guys working with me in the same office.
One of my favorite memories of working with Eplan was when I was relatively new and I attended the Rockwell Automation Fair in Chicago. It was really impressive to see the size. I'd always been at events as an attendee, but never as a participant in the event, and it was really cool to see customers all over from the U.S. Obviously, we're in Houston and we deal with our customers here, but to see other industries that are not prominent here in the local area, and just see the organization as well. That was a really cool memory that I can probably pinpoint. And then obviously the day-to-day, one of my favorite parts of working with Eplan is primarily the people, the team that we have here in Houston, and also all across the U.S. Really ambitious and driven team. And everybody is really on the same page and trying to help our customers, which is really nice.
So my favorite part work with Eplan is diversity. Every week is different than the previous week. Every new week we discuss solutions for our customers with our colleagues. We have an amazing team here in Houston with sales, inside sales, and professional services. We're working tightly together, and yeah, that's why it's really awesome.
One of the coolest or greatest thing that I think our customers get from Eplan is not only the state-of-the-art technology that we provide and the solutions, but it's also the benefit that they get from also the knowledge of our team, and myself, Reem, and Kruno, we really engage with our customers, and they get the benefit of all of our combined experiences, and they can really leverage our experience, our know-how to help them optimize their own processes and ultimately benefiting their business.
So my answer definitely will complete what Alessandro and Kruno said. It's the diversity that's my favorite part working at Eplan. So either whenever we're talking about the team, so we have different academic backgrounds, different knowledges, and so on. And also whenever we're working with customers, we have different types of customers, different ecosystem parts. So we see small panel shops, we see the big multi-international companies. So they come in different sizes and different technologies. It's that diversity when it comes to day-to-day business that's definitely keep us enthusiastic and excited about doing what we do.
The coolest benefit what customer can get out of ePlan is people. People who care about the success and efficiency of our customers, and ultimately people who become friends.
If I had to highlight a booth area this year, I really think it would be something, the webinars, videos, and podcast section. I know we made strides to put out a lot more how-to videos, content, really good experiences also from our customers and our podcasts, kind of learning from their successes, their mistakes, and learn from our customers and their own journey with ePlan. So I really think check that part out in our group.
One of the main benefits that our customers can take advantage of is actually the collaboration that ePlan provides them with. So the collaboration between engineers, the communication that becomes easier for them to exchange the data, the collaboration between departments. So let's say manufacturing and electrical department, the collaboration between them and ePlan as a staff as well. So that's a key benefit that we provide to our customers to help them succeed. I would always recommend visiting the live webcast or the live chat. So that's a good benefit that you can get out of the fairs, because you have direct contact with the experts. You can talk to them, ask them direct questions, and they'll answer you right away. And that's definitely something that I would take advantage of whenever I have the chance to.
So I would recommend our customers who are visiting our booth to check out first the virtual chat with our desk in order to get informed what they're looking for and what kind of solutions do we offer at our automation fair. Thanks for participating this year.
Tim Order of Eplan Software and Services is a resident digitalization expert focusing on integrations and software implementations of the future. Here, Tim demonstrates how Eplan and PTC have partnered to support end-to-end customer process workflows, even at the post-installation stage. Using cloud technology, you can access relevant information to pinpoint a source of error or failure from anywhere, and thus identify the culprit in the control panel instantly. Here we see that a conveyor has stopped. The customer calls the service technician to look into the issue. The technician checks the motor on the conveyor and no obvious mechanical issues are found. The next step is to check to see if there is an electrical issue. Using Eplan eView and our augmented reality application based on PTC technology, the technician gets access to relevant mechanical and schematic information of the motor. The technician now analyzes the electrical path from the motor to its connected devices. To understand why there is no power to this motor, we take a look at the power supply in the schematics layout and spot the motor protection switches. Let's pause here for a minute because you looked a little surprised. Maybe this isn't familiar to you because in most instances, this would be a manual process for technicians. They need to pull plotting paper files, a binder manual, or a PDF file to analyze the plant infrastructure for analysis. But with today's progressive solutions, this process can be completed much faster with less know-how required. Hang tight, we actually have more to show you. The technician flips back into AR view for the mechanical plant and locates the control panel on the shop floor. Using the tablet once again, he scans the cabinet and now can see the control system in a 3D view using the data from Eplan Pro Panel. In addition, he can quickly locate the problem switch that needs to be replaced. The technician can replace the part and now also use eView to redline the schematics to show the work completed. This information can be sent back to the original Eplan project with supporting documentation. It's not unbelievable, it's Eplan.
Hi, my name is Jason McLeese, an application engineer here at Eplan USA. Thank you for joining us today at the Rockwell Automation Fair. I hope you enjoyed Tim's demonstration using augmented reality to support maintenance and operations. Right now, we are going to talk briefly about complete transparency with digital operations, smart manufacturing that lives in the cloud. Our story revolves around the integrated value chain. Here, we are looking at the operations step. Eplan eView, a new cloud viewing concept on the Eplan ePulse platform. Eplan eView. Provide Eplan projects on the new Eplan ePulse platform. Enable efficient interaction between engineering and multiple downstream processes. Invite authorized users and allow them access to project information. View the Eplan project via Eplan eView web browser. Change how information is exchanged between engineering and maintenance via a redlining workflow. With eView, time-consuming searches in paper form are no longer necessary. This not only protects the environment, but also saves valuable time during commissioning and troubleshooting. Store. Upload and store the Eplan project in the cloud. Graphical, logical, and parts data. Share. Invite others to access the project information in the cloud. View. Visualize the Eplan project in the cloud using a simple browser. Redlining. Provide communication capability through the browser back to engineering directly from the cloud. Easy to use. Browser access from any operating system. Access from anywhere. Only an internet connection is required. Up to date. Always use the latest software. No installation required. Managed API. Third-party cloud-to-cloud services connectivity. New users. Production, assembly, commissioning, service, and maintenance. eView provides a simple upload from the ePlan platform for the designer or construction engineer. You have easy access from the browser, and so many touch points within your workflow will have access to the project: production, commissioning, switchgear cabinet manufacturers, service, maintenance, management, PDM PLM, and end customers. With the ease of use of QR codes, you have access to the current circuit diagram documents via ePlan eView. eView is integrated into the ePlan platform. Projects are directly uploaded from the platform into the cloud. Users are then invited to view the project. All necessary information for your uploaded projects can be seen in eView. View your uploaded projects in the ePlan cloud. Filter function to find projects quickly and easily. All project properties are available. Manage user access for the project in the ePlan cloud. Fast and easy page filtering saves time. All necessary device information is available in eView. The Device Navigator provides an overview of all available devices. The filter can be used, for example, to optimally display the production views by control cabinet. Simple selection of the device shows all detailed information and a link to the data portal. 3D models are available in View. View and navigate to 3D Pro Panel models. Filter for 3D installation space. Using the redlining workflow, comments on the project can be optimally exchanged between the design department and, as an example, production. Various redlining tools help to capture the comments. Redlining status creates transparency. A timeline helps to capture the entire change flow across a project. The redlining overview creates transparency for the designer to make the changes. Redlining overview integrated directly into the ePlan platform. All changes are available over the ePlan cloud. Easy collaboration between engineering and downstream processes. Here's an example of the redlining status. The eView user creates a redline. He can then delete it or submit it to the ePlan platform user for review. The ePlan platform user has the option to remove the redline or approve it. He can then take the next step of marking it done and providing a project update. Greenlining helps to reduce paper waste. It allows the eView user to make personal comments and notations. These are only visible to him or her. In the video at the beginning of this session, you saw Tim demonstrating how augmented reality works to support operations on the floor. But what are the benefits? For operators, shorter machine downtime, shortened use of technicians in case of service, faster localization of components, faster commissioning. For machine manufacturers, positioning as a technology leader, higher competitiveness, additional unique selling point, less research and documentation, less preparation time for technicians, higher technical knowledge through digitalization. Support your service and maintenance team with augmented reality. ePlan is proud to be a Rockwell Automation digital partner. If you have any questions, please let us know. We'll be here in the live chat all week. Thank you.
Engineering is going through a real revolution. Cloud computing, the Internet of Things, and data integration have a huge impact on industrial production systems. An efficient exchange of digital data between the different engineering phases is necessary to prevent disruption. If you want to work efficiently, you must think in an integrated way. That starts in the concept phase. Thanks to the digitization and modularization of engineering data, you can immediately start with conceptual design. This smart customization ensures substantial time savings, better estimable offers, and sharper delivery times. Smart engineering stands for a smart connection of electrical, mechanical, and software data. Thanks to one virtual prototype, everyone speaks the same language. It opens the door to smart production. The digital twin with 3D info and other smart data ensures smooth communication between man and machine. The better and more accessible information is built up in the concept, engineering and production phases, the less time you'll lose later on in case of downtime. You can also store everything in the cloud, so everyone has direct access to the right digital data at any given time. It's crystal clear. Working in an integrated way creates added value, shortens the lead time of your projects, and reduces downtime in case of a breakdown. This way you create a great added value for your product. Do you want to know how you can do this? The different solutions within the Eplan platform support you towards an integrated engineering and production process. Your digital transformation with Eplan.
Digital data has become a primary focus for product development and production, with manual and automated processes of panel building having standardized and digitally provided data is becoming a necessity. User errors are expensive, and implementing the correct set of wiring can be tedious and oftentimes daunting. With the help of virtual prototyping, access to creating a digital footprint of wiring is now possible. From the connections to the best routing path, Eplan Smart Wiring creates a virtual layout that provides shop floors with all the necessary information in a 3D digital format. Data can be passed along to different departments seamlessly. Whether it's a manual or fixed installation, wiring information is available to the design department via email. What else can smart wiring do? With the help of a smart device, you can access Eplan Smart Wiring and receive detailed step-by-step instructions for easy implementation. Wiring can be completed without schematics or layouts, and connections can be recorded using the traffic light principle. In addition to creating a transparent guideline, smart wiring also helps avoid mistakes in real time. By running an automatic project comparison, last-minute changes are now possible. Using Eplan Pro Panel, Smart Wiring and eView will give you a 45% time savings in wire preparation and project completion. To learn more about how to save on cost and time through automation, visit us at info.eplanusa.com/wiring 4.0.
Hello, my name's Jeff Kilburn. I'm the Managing Director for Eplan USA, here to give you a quick glance of Eplan software and service. Eplan, along with their sister company Rittal, are part of the Friedhelm Loh Group, $2.6 billion company with over 12,000 employees worldwide. Eplan itself has 1,100 employees across the world, with 58,000 customers using 190,000 Eplan software licenses every day to execute their electrical engineering solutions. Eplan offers a platform of solutions for multiple disciplines that all sit on top of a common data model that then resides in what we call the Eplan project. And this is where the power of and value of the solution is derived. At Eplan, we talk about an ecosystem of industrial automation. This consists of 4 different and distinct business types. There's, of course, the end use or the operator that's putting the automation solution into use. There are the OEMs and system integrators who build the machines and pull it all together for that end use application. Someone, of course, has to build the electrical panels. So that's a business type. Sometimes the OEMs and integrators do it themselves, but also it's sometimes a separate entity, but it's certainly part of the solution. And last but not least, it really all starts there, the end use operator usually selects a line of components to base their solution on. And so when people execute an automation solution today, at least in the United States, there's a lot of handoffs that happen. And I think this is the case globally, but more than ever here in the United States, we see a lot of disjointed handoffs in the way of drawings and spreadsheets and things like this. And that's an opportunity for errors and inefficiencies. And this is the value that we provide to all of the pieces of the what we call the ecosystem of industrial automation. So, usually it starts with an operator that puts together a specification that includes some of the component manufacturer's parts. They do some planning around what they need and what kind of solutions they're going to look for. And they usually have partners in form of OEMs and system integrators or solution providers that then are asked to give them quotations. And this is where the first step of the Eplan project really starts to deliver value. The operator can pass that specification not on paper or in an electronic form like a PDF, but in a data form in terms of an Eplan project, and communicate that to their partners in the market, who then can do some basic level work within our platform, and then in terms of basic engineering required to develop a quotation for a machine or an integration solution. And that's one handoff that is seamless and has a continuity of data, or a data thread, if you will. Of course, once the orders are placed with the OEMs and integrators, they have to do all the detailed engineering work, and that's the efficiencies gained by having all of that information pass through start to help, but also all of the data that came from the component manufacturers. So Eplan has all of these manufacturers in a cloud-based location called the Eplan Data Portal, and all that data can now flow into the detailed engineering to help with things like thermal calculations to see if you need a fan or an AC unit on the cabinet that needs to be built, to lay out the wires, and maybe even go so far as to automate the fabrication of the panel with the cutouts in the door for the HMI and the holes drilled in the back panel for the components to mount. The wires themselves can be with the data that's coming and available in the Eplan platform and coming from the components from the component manufacturer. You can automate the fabrication of the wire. We have our sister company Rittal's machines that cut, strip, crimp, and mark the wire, and the efficiencies are enormous for the people actually building the panel. And that can be an OEM, an integrator, or a separate company. But someone, of course, then has to source all those components, build the panel, and again, instead of a handoff of a different spreadsheet or evaluation of a set of drawings, it can be all put into the ePlan project and shared again with the different players in the ecosystem. And then, of course, once all the electrical equipment's built, it has to be installed and commissioned, and then, of course, put into operation. And there's always a desire to and an effort made to do as-built documentation. But now in the commissioning and runtime and operation phase, ePlan has cloud-based tools that allow you to maintain that project and have as maintained documentation for your automation solution, which delivers another round of value to the end use at the operator level during the runtime of their facility or their assembly line or whatever happens to be. And we have customers all over the globe doing this in all different industries, from marine to automotive to oil and gas. And every day we interface with those customers. We, of course, provide our software platform that enables it. But more so than anything, we can share the experiences we have across the world on best practices and help every different discipline or company that's involved in this ecosystem of industrial automation achieve their own values, but even maybe more importantly for some, to show that value to their customers and to differentiate themselves. So this is what we do every day. We do have a long-term strategy to create more and more a digital, even a cloud-based, digitally connected system to increase the efficiencies. That, of course, involves our software and the data behind it, but all putting it into a digital platform. And our goal is to be ready for our customers when they're ready to move to the cloud. And that will, of course, will happen over time. We're hard at work at it, and we hope to lead our customers and ourselves to operational excellence as we move toward that new solution that we believe the cloud is the future. And so that's ePlan software and service at a glance. I hope that helped explain a few things, but if you would like to interface with us, we're always available and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
Hola, mi nombre es René Knöpfel, soy el Technical Business Manager de Eplan Estados Unidos y a continuación les presentaré una introducción a Eplan Software and Service. Eplan pertenece junto a su compañía hermana Rital, es parte del Freedom Law Group, un grupo con más de 2.6 billones de euros en ingresos anuales a nivel mundial. Por su parte, Eplan cuenta con más de 1.100 empleados presentes en 50 países y con una red de clientes que sobrepasan los 58.000, con más de 190.000 licencias en uso para el desarrollo de soluciones de ingeniería eléctrica y de automatización. Eplan ofrece una gama de soluciones tecnológicas desarrolladas todas bajo una base de datos en común, la plataforma de Eplan. Y estos datos se almacenan todos bajo un mismo proyecto, el proyecto de Eplan. Y es aquí donde radica la ventaja y el valor de nuestras soluciones. Permítame explicarle. Nos enfocamos en lo que llamamos el ecosistema de automatización industrial. Nuestros clientes varían desde los usuarios finales o end users, los fabricantes de equipos originales o OEMs, los integradores de sistemas, los fabricantes de armarios y los fabricantes de componentes. Una realidad que la manera como cada uno de estos actores almacenan y distribuyen la información es a través de hojas de cálculo, a través de bocetos, a través de planos, lo que aumenta la probabilidad de errores y de ineficiencias en el proceso. Esto ocurre no solamente dentro de los distintos tipos de empresas ya nombrados, sino también cuando estas empresas tienen que colaborar entre sí. Y aquí Eplan cumple un valor fundamental. Normalmente el proceso comienza cuando el usuario final, el end user, está en su etapa de planificación y en búsqueda de una solución en el mercado. Él define un conjunto de especificaciones, él define los componentes que se van a utilizar, incluso los fabricantes que se van a utilizar. Después tiene una red de partners en el mercado donde puede buscar distintos tipos de ofertas. Los partners reciben una petición de oferta. En este proceso, este primer paso, es donde el proyecto de Eplan empieza a añadir valor. El usuario, les explico, el usuario final puede pasar el conjunto de especificaciones. Normalmente se pasa en papel o se pasa en formato PDF, pero en este caso puede pasar ese conjunto de especificaciones, ese conjunto de componentes, toda esa información recopilada al principio, la puede pasar en el proyecto de Eplan en una base de datos. El integrador de sistema o el fabricante de equipos originales puede tomar esta base de datos, puede proceder a hacer los distintos niveles de ingeniería básica necesarios para hacer una oferta. Y de esta forma minimizar, digamos, la pérdida de información por transferencia. Y a su vez se garantiza una continuidad de datos y a su vez alimentando el proyecto de Eplan con más y más información. Siguiente paso es, se gana el proyecto, ¿ya? Entonces los fabricantes de los OEMs, los fabricantes de equipos originales, ¿ya? Pasan a lo que llamamos la ingeniería de detalle. Y es aquí donde se obtiene aún o se ve aún más el aumento de la eficiencia, dado que todos los datos ya almacenados por el usuario final y sobre todo los datos de los componentes se le presentan al ingeniero en una profundidad de datos que le va a ayudar con todas las especificaciones de su diseño. En el caso de Eplan, Eplan mantiene un catálogo digital en la nube, donde distintos tipos de fabricantes almacenan y mantienen los datos, no solo de la parte comercial, sino también datos necesarios para la ingeniería básica, para la ingeniería de detalles y para la fabricación o la instalación de los distintos tipos de componentes. Ejemplos, ¿cómo puede ayudar estos datos a un ingeniero? Si vamos a los ejemplos de las calculaciones térmicas, ¿ya? Para ver qué unidad de enfriamiento requiero en un armario. Estos datos los provee los componentes, estos datos ya están almacenados en el proyecto y el ingeniero al momento de crear el prototipo en 3D del armario ya puede verificar si está cumpliendo con las reglas de distancias especificadas por el proveedor. Asimismo, puede determinar si las conexiones, o el tipo de conexiones o los cables elegidos son soportados por el componente, son los recomendados por el fabricante, e incluso puede llegar a mandar esta información, digamos, una vez que ya se tenga el armario listo en su formato digital, puede mandar esta información a una máquina de CNC para, por ejemplo, hacer las escotaduras para la interfaz HMI, la interfaz hombre-máquina. Se le presenta la información de la ubicación de los orificios de perforación y puede incluso obtener la longitud exacta de los cables, la terminación de los cables. Existen máquinas como la que oferta nuestra compañía hermana Rital, que le permite cortar, aislar, engarzar y marcar los cables. Y toda esta información ya está contenida en el proyecto de Eplan. En caso, por ejemplo, no todos los OEMs hacen el diseño o la fabricación de los armarios, ¿no? En caso de que, por ejemplo, se subcontrate la fabricación del armario, en vez de pasar la información a través de fotos, a través de bocetos, se pasa simplemente el prototipo virtual del armario con toda esta información, con la información relevante para la parte de fabricación, y de esta forma agilizar las operaciones del subcontratista. Y todo, seguimos hablando del mismo proyecto de Eplan del que empezamos con este ejemplo. Naturalmente, una vez que ya el operador haya recibido la solución y la haya instalado, la hayan puesto en marcha, obtiene el operador una documentación que llamaríamos as design, y empieza el ciclo de vida de, digamos, la línea de ensamblaje. Durante este ciclo de vida hay mantenimientos que se realizan, hay reemplazos de componentes, reemplazos de sistemas que se realizan, y Eplan ofrece una cantidad de aplicaciones que le permiten al ingeniero de mantenimiento siempre mantener los datos y la documentación que está disponible en el proyecto de Eplan up to date. De esta forma no solo se tiene los datos o los planos as built, pero también se tienen los datos as maintained. Siempre se tienen los datos actuales. Tenemos clientes alrededor del mundo trabajando de esta forma, desde el sector automotriz, desde oil and gas, en el sector de energía, y todos los días ofrecemos no solo la tecnología, sino también los best practices que hemos acumulado en nuestros 36 años de experiencia. En Eplan también tenemos una estrategia a largo plazo de continuar innovando, continuar haciendo que el ecosistema sea cada vez más eficiente y permitirle a sus actores diferenciarse por medio de las ventajas que se encuentran hoy en día disponibles con la digitalización en ingeniería. Espero le haya resultado informativo este video. Estamos siempre disponibles en las redes sociales, en todos los distintos canales, y de esta forma me despido. Muchas gracias.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Debbie Raimundo, and I am the marketing lead here at Eplan USA. Thank you so much for joining our Eplan Live channel at the Rockwell Automation Fair at Home. I hope you're enjoying the event, and I hope you've had time to stop by our virtual booth. So today, our topic is focused on partners and success. Joining us today here at our Eplan Live channel is our Eplan account manager, Bart Nieber. And then we also have Jason Kaur, who is our business development leader at Warner Electric, who is a Midwest electric supply and solutions provider, and also good partners with Rockwell Automation. So I'm going to go ahead and let these guys introduce themselves, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the conversation.
Hi, I'm Jason Kaur. I work for Warner Electric Supply Company. I've been an employee with them since 1996. Warner Electric has been around for 72 years, so we're a very established electrical supplier with where it started. And then when Rockwell Automation took that over, we obviously stayed in good standing as a distributorship for Rockwell Automation. I started as a technical support person. At the ground level, we were just building up a technical support department because of the advent of the internet and a higher demand for automation. So I stayed in that role, then developed myself into HMI and software, where I then moved into a product management position. And currently I'm working as a business development leader here at Warner to make sure partnerships with our customers and vendors go off without a hitch, and that we can supply what is needed to our customers to create a very value-added service for them.
Yeah, and I am Bart Nieber, so I am the account manager for Eplan in the Upper Midwest. So I've been with Eplan for a little over a year, and I cover Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska. So not only do I work directly with customers, but I also work through our partner network, like Warner Electric. All right, Jason, thank you for that background on Warner Electric. Obviously, we've been working together for about 9 months now, and Warner Electric was one of the first Eplan partners. What was the value that you saw in Eplan for your customers, and how did the partnership with Eplan come about?
That's a good question. We always are looking for new products and services that we can offer to our customers. We have a vision statement, which is the relentless pursuit of exceptional customer experiences. So we're always looking for new technologies, things that can improve our customers' ability to go to market, to be more efficient and effective for their customers, as we are more or less business-to-business type supplier. So with that, we were actually approached by Eplan. We had saw that as an Encompass partner in the past, but the go-to-market had changed, and he decided to go through distribution, which we thought was a good idea. We did some investigation. Eplan was a best-in-class type of solution for electrical design, and how you were partnering, having a digital partnership with Rockwell Automation. We thought it would fit Warner Electric's portfolio very well, with a lot of opportunities on our customer base to use that solution to enhance what they can do and move into the future, right? In the digital age, the digital experience, Internet of Things, all of that kind of gets rolled under the hood of Eplan with what they have today and where they're going in the future.
Perfect. Yeah, and how would you obviously we're still early on in the partnership, but how would you say that overall Eplan has been perceived or received by your customers as you've had these initial conversations and started to really dive in with your customer base?
I would say that it's being received very well. People, of course, have to do their due diligence and look into the product. It is a commitment to the customer, so they have to have a good vision going forward and understand the quality and the investment that it takes to get a solution that will drive your business forward and get you to where you need to be competitively and future state. So I believe it gives a good advantage to those using it as efficiency. they're very much able to, those have who we have had investigated so far have done return on investment calculations and have decided to move forward on it. So they understand the investment and the importance of it, but they're able to take what they know with your help. Bart, as you know, you've done some process assessments for us, and that really comes through with our customers because you're using their data for them to prove what they will save and gain in the partnership with Eplan and with Werner Electric. And Werner Electric is providing a product management position. So we will have localized support, consultation, and services as our partnership grows. And we look forward to that type of relationship. While in the model that we're putting forth to our customer to be that valued partner instead of just another electrical distributor.
Perfect. Yeah, it really kind of goes along with, as we look to for that digital transformation within your customers. So just shifting gears a little bit, obviously we're, because of the fact we are doing this virtually, is all due to the pandemic. And so we've had to do a lot of shifting. I know Eplan has done a lot with the pandemic as far as shifting a lot of our services as far as our training and consulting to be done virtually so that we can still assist our customers. What has Werner all done as the landscape has changed here in the last 6 months to help their customers with this changing work environment?
Well, we've been as accommodating as possible with the customer, as you know, virtually, like we're doing today, a lot of virtual meetings. So getting used to that technology, but also scoping out other technologies that can really help customers in these types of situations. So we were all forced into this due to the pandemic, but I think people were already investigating remote connectivity, ways to do things a little more efficiently and faster without having to travel as much. So the time savings thing. So even though the pandemic kind of forced it on us, I believe the trend was we were moving in that direction. So Eplan in particular has a very good way of doing that. They're already electronically based. So unlike having to shuffle around a bunch of print documents back and forth to different facilities or to different customers, the solution itself lends itself to this type of environment because it's all electronic, it's tied together. There's a web-based portal to pull down the different devices and things you need to build up your electrical design components. The ability to then do the redlining process over either a web portal or just by sending PDF documents back and forth and importing, exporting is huge. So I see this is just how Eplan was almost ahead of the game when it came to having to deal with a crisis such as this. And I believe it opens the eyes of a lot of people, not only during this pandemic, but past it, on how we can do things more efficiently without necessarily having to do things the old way, trying to travel always over to a place. There is something to be said about face-to-face contact, but with everybody's time being a commodity, expertise kind of contracting a little bit today. So a lot of the old expertise is leaving. New expertise is coming in at not as fast a rate. So to have these types of technologies to make things more efficient, to do more with less per se, is a huge plus. So we look forward to using more of these types of technologies, trying to build up solutions. We have a network services solution to help people with their infrastructures, to help support these types of remote connectivities and solutions like Eplan. So we definitely embrace the challenge, and I think we've done a heck of a job trying to get what our customers need in this difficult time and in this odd environment that we live in right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And yeah, I know you're definitely correct, is that we were ahead of the curve on a lot of this, as we were already starting to roll out cloud-based services, and those have only continued to do so. It's only going to continue to grow with what we're able to offer in the digital workplace that we're now in. So.
Yeah, and it's been the support we receive from Eplan has been we have whatever issues or solutions we need to get to, or people that have to switch meetings due to one thing or another because of the pandemic, because of whatever that situation is. ePlan has been very versatile in making sure that Werner as a distributor is covered, that our customers are covered, that you're working with us to develop who we think would benefit from these types of solutions, and then work forward in the future. So you guys done a very good job on being the support needed for vendors such as Werner Electric. We have 11 different branches, as you know, that we have spread out over Wisconsin and part of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So it's very important to us that we get that kind of support in the back end. So aligning right with Rockwell, you guys are doing a heck of a job helping us out there as well.
All right. So obviously, we talked a little bit about ePlan cloud-based solutions, and ePlan has done a lot to, as we said earlier, ePlan has done a lot to continue to grow those solutions. And one of the goals there is, as we look at the future of automation, is we want to make sure that we can share information throughout the design process, that we're not just waiting until the end to then review drawings. We've created ways with our thing like eView to be able to actually share and collaborate on drawings as you go through the design process. Also within ePlan, there's obviously the automatic exports to things like wire terminal machines and CNC machines, so that people like Werner can, provide panels, as we're able to create a true towards the future.
So we see more trends on people looking to Werner to assist in some of the service offerings. You kind of alluded to one of them would be be able to drill the holes to cut out custom panel doors, so the customer can then get these enclosures and be ready to install and go to market faster, right? Getting manufacturing done, get it out the door. So we are looking for solutions beyond that. Other trends that I see in the industry outside of just the electrical design piece, we are at Automation Fair at Home, so a large aspect of what our customers are looking into towards the future would be the industrial Internet of Things, the IoT. So Rockwell does have the partnership with a PTC now, the Vuforia, the ThingWorks level. So not only in that IoT space, but also augmented reality. So IoT will connect everything up. We have large OEM base looking to monitor their machines more effectively, having to send people out to service the machines less, only when needed. If somebody can troubleshoot over the phone or over an internet connection with a video camera to the service tech at the customer, that helps everybody, right? Because they don't have to send a large bill. The service tech learns something, and everything is done more efficiently. So that's a huge part of the solution. And then when you put augmented reality on top of that with Vuforia and other technologies, you're able to do training better. So I had talked about the transfer of knowledge, the old guard leaving, the new people coming in, and how there's kind of a lack of a one-to-one relationship there. So we have to train people better and on the fly, because some of, not only are the older technicians and engineers retiring, but the knowledge they take with them on some of the older systems that aren't quite migrated up to the newer platforms is also leaving. So in order to cover that, we're finding that augmented reality type solutions, where wearable devices or even a tablet, to have videos with overlays of how things are done and taken apart, put together, heads up type displays, really is helping people look beyond the old way of training and doing solutions. The other thing is having an insight into your factory. So a lot of people are looking at OEE, they have been for a long time, to improve their production efficiencies on a manufacturing end, or even while building machines. So that has always been at the forefront, but now with the advent again of IoT and more advanced analytics and things like machine learning and artificial intelligence, Rockwell cutting edge with their innovation suite. They're able to pull in the information and mash it up with the technologies they offer where you don't necessarily have to have a data science degree to get this done. Once the system is set up, it is usable to get functional analytics out of it without having to do a lot of the things that people have done in the past in order to get these processes to work, to get the answers they need. So the artificial intelligence modules that Rockwell is putting out, the analytics engines behind the scenes, the factory talk metrics for the OEE calculations being brought in with ThingWorx to be able to have a larger, more modern system, then taking that information, using it proactively to make your systems better, to make the manufacturing process smoother, is a huge plus. The other thing that we're looking at is uptime, right? OEE is huge on keeping your machines up and running. So in order to do that, people are looking at preventative maintenance, monitoring the machines for vibration and other things that where they start going out of tolerances, you're alerted prior to them going out, so you can do the maintenance more efficiently, effectively, more planned, to reduce your downtimes and increase efficiencies and of course profitability. So that's kind of the trends that I'm seeing in manufacturing, in even machine building. We have a large machine builder presence, so they're taking a lot of these new technologies to heart, investigating them, doing their due diligence, but then investing in them, making sure that they can move forward. So Eplan is just one more piece of that puzzle, so that digital experience, that digital transformation, really the design piece is fitting in with Eplan, and it complements all the other offerings from Rockwell Automation and other Encompass partners. You'd mentioned digital twin. There is also the simulation environment for partners like ANSYS and other people. So it's a huge scope of product and breadth of technology to wrap your head around, but there's definitely a solution out there for everyone, and you just have to take the time to look into it, understand what it brings to the table, what business issues it's going to answer for your company. That's key to a lot of these new technologies, is understanding the issues that it's going to solve. Therefore, you can apply it and get your return on investment, get your value for your investment in that technology.
Yeah, and that's a great point when you talk about you mentioned the old guard moving out and having to train in new people, and that's one of the things we had mentioned with Eplan too is with it being a database-driven system and all the data that can be exported, like the point-to-point wireless. So you're no longer wiring off schematics. You're not training people in to how you read schematics, or taking it even further and using our smart wiring technology, where again you're as you mentioned, wiring off using tablets, things like that. So you're truly just using a digital piece of software to help with the training aspect, to become efficient more quickly compared to, and really shortening that training time. So as you mentioned, another thing that Eplan can bring to the table. So.
Right. And I mean, product development management and product lifecycle management, those are just other things that people are really concentrating on now. And Eplan blends itself to both of those things. The ability to integrate that solution into an ERP system to make things more efficient. Even so, apart from the design side, you also have the quotation side. So by integrating into a business system, Eplan, the quotation side for Salesforce selling certain machines or systems, very much more efficient, more unified, getting that one version of the truth everybody looks for, being able to expedite the sale to actual realization and get that money rolling in faster. I know it's that's what everybody bottom line is looking to make things more efficient, so profitability goes up. So I believe with the Eplan solution, with a lot of the digital technologies that are out there today, applied correctly and thought out, with a lot of involvement from vendors like yourself, from distributors such as us, where we have a large breadth of technical knowledge, product knowledge that we bring to the table. So it's not just me here working. I have a bunch of brethren and sisters that work in this technological field that help our customers get up to speed, understand the technologies, understand how it can help them move forward and be more effective, more productive, and more profitable.
Thank you guys so much for the great conversation. Thank you, Bart. Thank you, Jason, for joining us today at ePlan Live. I hope everybody has a chance to visit our booths, the Werner booth at Rockwell Automation Fair at Home and the ePlan virtual booth. If you have any questions, that's exactly where you can go to ask us live. We all have people on staff who can answer your questions right away. Other than that, have a fantastic week and we'll see you soon.
The ePlan platform includes products that are tailored to provide efficiencies in design and engineering of electrical and automation projects. ePlan has always been the tool that allows electrical engineers to excel and outperform the competition. Although ePlan may be part of your vision, you need to know for sure that it's going to work and that you'll be able to show your team. The ePlan guided trial team of experts can help you with this task. This test drive of sorts is not only free, but it includes a real project plan with guidance and support from an ePlan certified consultant. So what are you waiting for? Your journey starts here. info.eplanusa.com/guided-trial.
When we wake up in the morning, the world has changed again. And if change is the single constant of today, whether in automation, digital transformation, mechatronics, or electrical engineering, we should take change as what it is. Chance. Our mission? We want to design the future of engineering. Designing the future means being open. Open to everyone and every idea. We connect engineers, systems, data, and disciplines worldwide for machine and panel builders. Designing the future means empowering. We empower engineers all over the world to realize their ideas. Our tools and solutions enable you to maximize your efficiency, customized to your needs, from simple to high-end. Designing the future means being future-proof. We lead the market with more than 50,000 customers and with 19 languages. We offer local support in more than 50 countries. This makes us the global partner for you and your future success. Because efficient engineering is when a plan becomes ePlan. Collaboration means being close to our customers, listening to your needs and your challenges, and understanding how we can help you to plan and shape the future. Let's ePlan.
So I'm Jeff Kilburn, Eplan Managing Director in the United States.
Hello, my name is Chirayu Shah. I lead Digital Partner Program at Rockwell Automation.
Hi, I'm Matthew Hansen. I'm a Partner Manager at Rockwell Automation, managing some of our digital partnerships.
Hi, I'm Thomas Keller, based in Europe, and I'm looking after the sales in Europe for Eplan.
All right, so to kick it off, Industry 4.0, the next industrial revolution, China 2025, a lot of these global initiatives highlight the fact that industrial companies need to get after digital transformation. They're already on their journey. Some of them are starting at a different point. Some of them have brownfield environments, some of them have greenfield environments, some of them are global in nature, but most of them have challenges tying data across their enterprise and creating purposeful, contextualized information that can help them make better decisions and improve total cost of ownership, reduce enterprise risk, and really drive productivity across their industrial value chain. That's where we come in. We as Rockwell have been market leaders and have been serving industrial customers globally for 100+ years. We have understanding and domain expertise of vast industrial customer types ranging from oil and gas, mining, to discrete manufacturers like automotive and then CPG and what. So again, ability to serve those customers across that industrial value chain using our expertise is really critical from supplier perspective. But we realize that this digital transformation journey is very, very complex, and it requires ecosystem of partners. And because of that, we are bringing the digital partner program, and this digital partner program is built around market leaders who are domain expert, who are leaders in their own space, who can work together with other companies and provide differentiated experience to our customers. We focus on co-innovation, where we can purposefully create products and solutions together with our partners that can help our customers get more when they use our products together. So truly drive that 1 + 1 = 3. And as we add more partners, really provide that industrial value or a digital value across the supply chain. From digital partner program perspective, we have different categories of partners starting across the life cycle, from management consulting firms to technology partners to system integrators. And this ecosystem is critical, as I said, because as we technology providers like Eplan and Rockwell provide solutions, you will get value of integration between our products, but also the ecosystem that can help deliver solutions across the board. So today, when my colleagues will talk about Rockwell solutions and Eplan solutions, you'll hear about the value of data. You'll hear about the value of driving productivity for our customers and how we are leveraging our core capability and competence and domain expertise to really create differentiated offerings and value for our customers. Eplan and Rockwell have had successful relationship for a long time. You will hear about how Rockwell has adopted Eplan data strategy and how we have created libraries for our components that really creates value for us, but also creates value for our customers when they are developing their digital solutions, be it OEMs, machine builders, or end users, operators. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, who will talk to you more details about Eplan and Rockwell partnership.
Yeah, thank you, Shirayu. I think the combination of Eplan's technology and Rockwell's technology really delivers a compelling value proposition to our common customers, and really helps them drive their profitability in a way of increasing efficiencies through reduction in the overall time and effort it takes to execute an automation solution, and increase accuracy of the work that's done by each discipline. And a lot of this value comes from really connecting that digital, making that digital connection between the logical connections that are present in the Eplan platform for the electrical schematics and electrical circuits with the logical sequence of operations that are put into the the control system via Rockwell Studio 5000 software, and a lot of that is done today quite often manually. And between the two organizations, we can really make that digital connection where there's a continuous flow of data, and that means accuracy and it means speed, and then drops a lot of profitability to the bottom line of our common customers. And in particular with Rockwell, Rockwell's made a significant investment in putting a set of data out there into their components that are on the ePlan data portal, and that really significantly increases the ability of our customers to execute at a very high level the engineering and manufacturing of those automation solutions, and really enhances the entire sequence of connections. So you think about from an engineering standpoint, having at your fingertips all of the data that helps you execute from an engineering perspective for all those automation objects that are used to put that solution together. Think of how much heat is in the cabinet, what cooling do you require from there, how do you name things, how do you put into your control system, common definitions of things, and have that data transfer automatically from ePlan's platform to Rockwell's platform. And that, but by doing this and making that digital connection between the two organizations, between the disciplines, it really enhances our customers' value and helps them really transform the way they do their business on a day-to-day basis. And I think we see a number of customers really taking that step up. Now there's more than ever a catalyst to actually initiate change, whereas we've been in this industry for decades doing things with drawings and with spreadsheets, and making this digital thread connection between the two organizations and the value propositions we independently provide, and pulling that all together with customers is a compelling situation for customers, and really accelerates their business. And I think one of the things often overlooked in that is that not only does it drop to the bottom line some efficiencies, but we see customers, and I've experienced this in my own career with both organizations, to enable you to have the ability to drive your top line. If you can do things faster and more accurate, you can drive your business as a whole. And so that's a compelling value proposition to many customers in the market today. I think maybe, Thomas, you might have some comments on how this affects certain customer types and how they are realizing that value from ePlan and Rockwell together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. So I think you talked about data, and I always say it all starts with data. We want to have a digital thread. We want to have a digital twin, whatever you call it. So it all starts with the right data. And with the right data, yeah, having it at your fingertips and having the full power of the system, because it's data driven, yeah, with the right data. So looking at the OEMs, the machine builder, but also the panel builders, what kind of benefits can they really gain by working in this, let's say, in this way, getting the benefit from a database oriented system versus their traditional, let's say, other drawing methods, comparing that. So first of all, for an OEM, the advantage is, of course, they often have existing designs, so they have proven designs. They can reuse these designs. It's almost like a template, so they can use a design that already works well, and they can reuse it, modify it, and that's definitely a great benefit working in this digital world, and with the high efficiency also. Keep that in mind, that by using this kind of database methods or database as a foundation, you also achieve a lot of efficiency. And then, of course,
You mentioned also the top line, Jeff. I think in your as an OEM, as a machine builder, you have to deal with your customer. So you want to deal with your customer. You want to engage with your customer early in the design process. You want to be fast in that bidding process, and get your first draft, your result to the customer quickly, and then you also have iterations. And if you are completely digital and data driven, you can have these iterations much more quicker. You can look at different variants. You can convince the customer really with your customer with speed and quality, so that enhances your position in the market. Another topic, of course, is always what happens after. You have a bill of material, of course. Many bill of materials today are very manually from drawing packages, and the information flow within the company is somehow disrupted by being in a very manual process there in many cases. But by doing it almost automatic, this bill of material, you save time. You really can use in this whole process with your customer, and you have a much better collaboration with your customer, and also think about, again, these iterations we talked about. So the bill of material then changes automatically because it comes from the database. So that's a big advantage you have versus a more manual process. And we talked about documents you produce. We talked about the value chain for you as a customer when you are an OEM or a machine builder, or you have the panel builder, the right documents. Yeah, how do you supply the right documents to these other departments? So the flow of information is a really critical part of this whole engineering process we talk about here together with our customers. And from a European perspective, we really have a lot of examples where we have this kind of collaboration, exactly that the customers appreciate the connection of the Rockwell tools and the Eplan tools directly in their software. So that's really going in a great way. So this partnership is really a key benefit for Eplan, also from a European perspective. So Matt, maybe I pass the word to you.
Yeah, sounds good, Thomas. Thank you. Yeah, and just to follow up a little bit on, what Shirayu opened with, we're building an ecosystem of best-in-class partners, right, to really augment what Rockwell Automation does, and really deliver, a unique set of capabilities to our customer base, right? And, one of the big things I think here is we're trying to help our customers really unlock their digital potential, right? So specifically with, some of these partners, we're really focusing in on, digital engineering, right, is the kind of topic of this conversation today. As Thomas said, it really comes down to the data, right? And we're really trying through that data, bring together the design of products, manufacturing processes, on your automation, right, across, the entire, industrial life cycle, right? So whether that's early in the design phases, in the build phases, across the operations or maintenance phases, right? We really want to, drive the use of that data across that entire life cycle. Through both Shirayu and Jeff and Thomas, we've talked about some of the benefits here, right? But at a high level, this can really help improve time to market, minimize downtime, and really add agility into the overall, life cycle process. Again, as Jeff and Thomas said, right, the Eplan technologies really help enable customers to improve their efficiency, the accuracy of their electrical designs, ultimately into the automation systems as well, right? But it just doesn't stop there. Jeff and Thomas mentioned Studio 5000 and some of the workflows there, right? So again, starting with that data, right, into an electrical design, bringing that into the automation design, right? You're able to really drive efficiency by starting earlier in those design processes, right? In parallel with all of this, as mechanical design is moving on, that can be brought to life with, Rockwell Automation product called Emulate 3D, right? Ultimately, the automation design and that electrical design, that can come together through Emulate3D to allow the validation of new lines, right, in a completely virtual manner. So you can imagine the value that this can bring to our customers, right? It can dramatically reduce, commissioning time. It can manage risk on programs, and ultimately it can help, improve initial yield and initial quality of new lines and manufacturing assets that are just being brought online. So, this is really just the beginning of what's possible with an ecosystem approach, right? When we start to, layer on, Rockwell Automation capabilities with the best-in-class capabilities that our partners bring, we really can help customers unlock their digital potential and do it better digitally.
So as you heard from Jeff and Thomas and Matt, the value of industrial ecosystem, value of data, and how we can bring contextualized information across the value chain is really, really critical to customer success. And customers can really benefit both from top line perspective, as Jeff said, as well as improving productivity, as Matt said. Think of different use cases around virtual commissioning to productivity across different departments within your organization. No longer we are into siloed, electrical department doesn't talk to automation department. We're really mechanical, electrical, all these engineering disciplines can really share information more proactively because we as vendors are building integration, bi-directional real-time integration so that you can share information and be productive as you use our capabilities together and truly allow our customers to use best of breed technologies and tools that you really love and admire and use those effectively. On the back end, we can connect those workflows through data models and information layers to really create the productivity that I'm talking about. So power of best of breed technologies, bring together with integrated solution and create value for you. That's what we are about. That's what we really are. That's when we call ourselves successful for our customers and create that differentiated experience. And I'll yield it back to my colleagues here and maybe have them summarize maybe a couple of key takeaways.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would just add that, we talk about it from initial concept to commissioning, startup, and even into your runtime and maintenance. There's value all along that digital chain of industrial automation. And when we collaborate in these best of breed scenarios, we've got examples of workflows using some really cutting edge technologies with all of the partners in the digital partner program. And Matt mentioned Emulate3D, but we've got workflows on the maintenance side that we have put into practice now with PTC as well, another part of the digital partner program from Rockwell. And all of that, allows every piece of we call it the ecosystem of industrial automation, from the end use application through the integrators and OEMs that build the machines and put it all together for them to a lot of those people build their own panels. Some of them use a separate organization, and to enable that digital thread through that entire ecosystem of customers with the partner program of Rockwell, I think really, to Matt's point, unlocks a lot of value for them. And it's, as I said before, it's not just in the ways of efficiencies, but it's also enabling speed to market. And speed to market means we can drive the top line business for our customers. And that really is a game changer here. And having all these partners work together provides, I think, a unique value in the market.
Hi, I'm Christopher Aldrett, writer-director of the Eplan Digital Journey. I hope you're enjoying Rockwell Automation Fair at Home. Today we're rerunning episode 4, now about the PLCs. In case you missed it back in July, this is the one where our hero goes from IAB, or Integrated Architecture Builder, to Eplan, to Studio 5000, and then back again. After you watch the clip, We're going to be here in chat live, so feel free to post any questions that you might have, and we'll answer you right away. Thank you for joining us, and now on with the show.
Previously on A Digital Journey, we looked at how to unmake a mess of things. We found out the limitations of video on WebEx. We found out that budget shouldn't be a problem. Means that if a budget doesn't exist, then it isn't a problem. And there is no limit to what you can do with PowerPoint. Given enough time and not enough sleep, but I digress. We met a hardworking engineer named B, and B had a problem. B was faced with a massive internal language barrier. The sales guy didn't speak designer, who didn't speak customer, who spoke of a need to just get his machine built. B realized that if she could just match all of these different needs with a basic list of designs that she had already made, she could take all the little parts and pieces from the jobs in the past and match them with the customer's needs in the present. Later, we found out that this was called cogeneer, meaning collaborative engineering, known as eBuild, part of ePulse. This is completely straightforward. Hey, ask your salesperson. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 4th episode of A Digital Journey. It is a 12-part series learning how to do stuff a little faster, hopefully a little better, and with less effort. I will be your moderator, Andrew Fortenberry. After the episode, we will have a Q&A session. So during the episode, please post any chats into the chat bar, and I will be sure to answer them. Please leave us a note on how we are doing, questions, comments, and if so, even any nasty remarks. Today, we are going to talk about PLCs. For those of you who do not like acronyms, we are going to talk about programmable logic controllers, the sturdy little boxes that bring all of our wonderful designs to life. For the past 50 years, these computers have been the brains in some form or another behind all industrial processes. When you start to move your control design from schematic, loop diagrams, to PLC, you are immediately faced with a question. How? And now Sergio will answer.
We're going to start with the assumption that most sane people make logical decisions, or at least intend to. We assume that any design will involve many different disciplines, mechanical, electrical, and the catch-all controls. Eventually, decisions made in one discipline will affect the decisions made in another. Ideally, the design process would involve a collaborative approach and spiraling towards an effective, efficient design. However, in practice, resources and time run short. Competitive interests disrupt the processes and things will spiral, however, not always in control. Of particular interest is the crossover point between the schematics and the PLC. Again, we make some assumptions. We assume that we know the capabilities of the controller. We assume that we have clarified all of the interfaces. We have the right input-output cards, memory, scan time, all of the hardware, and most importantly, and why it is at the end of the list, or documentation, and which I/O address goes to which device. How do we organize our tags? Regardless if we use ordinary ladder logic programming or automatically generated code derived from a multi-physics model-based simulator. Ultimately, we need some sort of intermediate program to transfer data from the schematics to the PLC code. A traditional method would be to use simple text files or Excel spreadsheets and cross-check each device one by one against the data in the PLC programming tool. This is a time-consuming task and prone to errors as it relies on the dexterity and concentration of the designer/operator working the programming tool. There are, of course, methods to automate some of these steps. Most CAD tools can export a simple text file or spreadsheet, and most PLC development environments can import that very same file. However, If changes to one or more sides of the design are made, the designer is required to maintain and organize these individual files. Again, a set of revision control tools are needed, which again involve another layer of maintenance. If there are more people involved, there are more chances for errors. Simple transcripts errors, which have nothing to do with the actual execution of the PLC code and will not be caught by the PLC compiler, will nevertheless be transferred to the controller, with less than desirable results. Administrative oversight, such as requiring simulation and multiple design checks, can solve some of these problems, but the amount of effort required to check whether or not a list has been moved from one machine to another begs the question: is there a simpler, safer way? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Too kind. Too kind. Be sure to tip your waitress at the end. Hopefully you enjoy that as much as we enjoy doing them and putting these together for you guys in a more comprehensive way, probably. Maybe not. But anyway, so the software demo at hand. What are we talking about? PLC. So let's dive right into it. We, as we proceeded with our episodes, we saw all the different facets, all the different steps, and we derived from our project settings that when we were doing our pre-planning phase and we were doing our schematic generation and whatnot, we ended up with a pre-calculation of the amount of IOs that we need. So since the topic of the day is PLCs, this is the what we're going to kind of tackle into and how we're going to blend in this information together. So, of course, knowing full well how we proceed into all our different facets of our engineering processes, we know we have certain schematics assigned to our pre-planning objects. And as we saw in previous episodes, we can insert these. And as we are inserting these different objects into our schematic environment, information is being produced. Now, obviously, the benefits of all this is that ease of functionality and also the fact that we can also benefit from a drag and drop and ease of use tools. Now, of course, as we're using and building up our schematics, we're putting PLC information inside the schematics. And that PLC information will be found inside our navigator, depending on the IO. And as we saw previously also, even from this particular environment, we can also create different PLC overview sheets that will give us a lot of detailed information. And what we're going to be end up doing is we'll basically start to use other tools to be able to merge that. So just as we saw in the animation previously, we want to try to avoid that separation between two disciplines. What I have here is an environment, which is basically the Studios 5000 Architect. We do have other applications that we can communicate with. So we'll look into those eventually in some other episodes. But the benefit here, of course, is to have import and export capabilities. Now, based on our design, we saw that from the pre-calculation of our pre-planning environment with our report that we done, we have a small, simple project that we need 10 outputs and 13 inputs. So basically, an A4 rack would do me justice here. So if I drop in an A4 rack and I go ahead and grab the controller, dump it in. Again, the benefit of when we're starting to work with easy and ease of use tools, the benefits start to unfold. Of course, the interaction and the ease of use functionality greatly help. Of course, there is some you have to know how to use these tools eventually. But of course, this is like any other application that you need, and especially with the progression that the environments that we're working with are going and expanding, and all the changes, and especially with the current situations, these are things that we have to take into consideration. How do we make these things faster? So having that done, having this information integrated in my environment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the export functionality, and from here I'll be able to export my my PLC file. So I can create a new one just so, in case we have those people that say it's pre-cut. So let me do an RAF demo July. That'll be my file, and of course it's exported. And as you notice, what I exported is an AML file. We discussed the AML in our podcast, so be sure to tag along, follow us on the podcast channel, and you'll be able to benefit from all the cool information that's out there. So AML, being the tool of the weapon of choice, of course, has a lot of capabilities. We're going to grab that file and we're going to import it into our project. So here, choosing the import data, I'm going to grab that AML file. So I'm going to choose the one I just created, bring that guy in. And basically what the system will do is it brought 4 devices, 1 CPU, and I'm good to go. So these devices are here, but they're generic. They're not necessarily correlated with my design. Of course, these outputs these inputs that I have here are brought in based on the macro tools that I'm using. And of course, they have generic information themselves. So here we have pin 111 and so on and so forth. So there's no real correlation. I'm going to grab that information and blend those two together. So grabbing the file or the information that was brought in from the PLC tool, and I'm just going to blend that in. So to do so, I'm going to grab here a little filter to start with my inputs first, grab all my inputs, and I'm going to choose here PLCs, and I'm going to say use connection point blockwise. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign it to my digital IO card. And I know I need 13 pins or 13 points. So I'm going to say 8 here, 1, 2, 3, 5. So that's going to be my 13. They line up. And now you'll notice that my connection points and all the data that was exported out or brought into my Eplan tool will now inherit the information that I had in my pre-planning environment. So as soon as I hit OK, now you'll see pin 1, 2, 3, and I have all the information and description all aligned. I can proceed now to do the outputs. So very simple steps. The benefit here, again, is the capabilities of having a tool that can give you an ease of use workflow, regardless of the fact that maybe back in the day you used to do things a certain way. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I had to use my fingers when I was in school counting and doing math. But yeah, basically having these tools that will, once you grasp your head around the concepts, will give you great benefit in the long run. So having that done and integrated all my information, if I go here to my rack-oriented view, I have here my my project, my station, my rack, and all the different tools and hardware. And here, basically, I have some information that correlates in with it. The idea, again, is the principle of being able to have these two tools interact with each other. So it's not a direct communication per se, if you will, but the idea really is the concept of being able to grab this information and being able to manipulate it in 2 instances by means of import and export, as opposed to use a third party or a script or an Excel spreadsheet with macros and things. All these tools are great. They all work. There's nothing wrong with any of them. It's just that there are certain benefits. Once you have your concept wrapped around, you can do these kind of things. So hopefully this kind of enlightens you into this topic. And let's go back here, and here we go. Right, so we'll move into the Q&A session here now.
Sergio, thank you so much. So the first question that we have is, PLCs can Eplan handle?
How many different PLCs? Okay, so I guess the question is how many PLC hardware types or software types, I guess. Maybe I'm phrasing myself wrong. So what you can do is inside the import or export application under the PLC configuration program types, these are all the different configurations available. Of course, as you can see, we have Bekov, BNR, ABB, Mitsubishi's, and so on and so forth. A lot of these are still in process of being reworked and revamped. We had some, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mitsubishi did an update and things were working great. Mitsubishi did an update and now it wasn't working. We have similar cases with Rockwell. They're also looking into their AML environment with the new formats. So there's still a little bit of work that's being done. Siemens also, with their TIA portal versions. So they all work. but they're still getting revamped. So if you're out there, if you're seeing certain things that are not maybe working out, feel free to contact your support. The support team will make sure to get a hold of the PLC experts in Germany and see what's up. But all in all, the tool seems to be working very seamlessly. We had no issues with the Studios 5000 tool just as yet. But yeah, these are pretty much all of the configuration capabilities that we have.
Excellent, thank you. And next question. We saw how to move data from schematics to the PLC. Is there a way to move data from the PLC to the schematic?
Yes, of course. So there's the schematics to the PLCs, but there's also a PLC information that we can bring in, whether you're inserting a device, of course, whether it be a PLC device, and you can bring it into the schematics. Also, the benefits of being able to benefit from all the different functionalities, as you saw me do earlier. If I grab a overview sheet from the PLC, what I can do is from the schematic point of view, I can grab that PLC IO card, drag it into an overview sheet, and I will have the overview information of that sheet. Of course, I'll have here all the representation data that's coming from the schematics into the PLC environment, and so on and so forth. So yes, from the PLC to the schematics, we can import, and from the schematics to the PLC, we can output.
Excellent. We have another question. Can you generate blockwise macros via PLC to generate schematics?
Blockwise macros. Okay. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, we have the bitwise, which is represented here. And of course, this is probably not a technique that a lot of people are familiar with. And the benefits of having this type of technique is the fact that we can just show on the schematics the IO points that we require. And as you just saw me do here in the PLC overview, I can have the whole card overview in a form of a report that reflects what's actually happening in the schematics. But of course, inside the schematic environment, it all depends on the macros that you're using that are associated to your parts. In the part data for all these objects here, if I look at the digital input card and I look at the properties in the part information, you can associate a schematic macro that you will be using in order to use the auto generation function. So here, this macro will be utilized to create. So this is an overview, but you do have multiple representations for this particular macro. So you could have a multi-line schematic, a single line, an overview, a whole bunch of them. So these will be the ones represented and used in the auto generation. So it's up to you to fine tune it. We do have courses that are being put together on these, and we also have macros. The data portal has some macros available. There has been a lot of feedback about the data portal parts. We've created a data portal standard. We've sent it out to all the manufacturers. They're starting to abide by those regulations. So hopefully, crossing our fingers, it's up to them to create and put these things together better, and we should be getting benefits from using the new macro information and be able to work with all these different features.
Excellent, excellent. Next question. If I want to reorganize all of my PLC tags in Eplan, how would I do that?
Yeah, so there are tools in place where under PLC, you can readdress. You can choose the address and assignment list also, which is very beneficial, which kind of gives us a similar representation of our Excel spreadsheet that we're accustomed to using. And of course, we do have capabilities here of readdressing, removing around. We do have capabilities of also exporting out and re-importing in using our edit externally features, which are also beneficial. So depending on the level of knowledge that you have using Eplan, there are multiple facets or multiple ways of doing these things. So this could be something, there's a whole bunch of ways. We do have, again, we're working really on e-learning tools. So hopefully, especially for the North American crowd who is really busy and is overworked. So we're trying to get these things out. There are also coaching services. So one key factor could be for the users out there who want more in-depth, coaching services, just like if you would go to a gym, you paid the membership, you're working out, but you want to have that extra oomph, you get yourself a coach who's going to give you all the tricks and tips. Same concept. So let your sales rep know that might be something you're interested in.
Thank you, Sergio. So we have a couple more questions. What information do you have to put in to the parts in ePlan to be able to transfer information such as function text to Studio 5000?
Right. The function text is technically the information that you get from the IO point. Now, the function text property, or this basically would be the property, the description property, and the symbolic property. There are certain attributes. A lot of people have this misconception that it's just a magic wand. You purchase the license of ePlan, and you know, you can just, while you're sipping your coffee, ePlan is doing everything for you, which is not the case, and that's with any tool out there. There are certain fields and properties that need to be populated. We do have a lot of, we have some tech tips online. Rockwell created a white paper that's online that you can also get your hands on, which basically really is a deep dive between the integration between ePlan and the Rockwell tool, as well as other applications out there. I know there are certain documentation in the ePlan information portal. If you Google that, you'll have some tech tips there as well that'll explain to you what fields need to be populated. So in this particular case here, the function text will be converted over to the description. The symbolic address will also be brought into the PLC program in the proper fields. Just an example of need to know information. One of these is one that I actually personally had to tackle myself. The symbolic address cannot take any spaces. So in the transfer of data from ePlan to, and apparently it's with other tools that I found out, there's no spaces available. So when you use an underscore, it gives you that effect. So these are knowledge-based information that, you know, you can ask us in support, you can ask us, and even with the coaching service, we can look at this more in depth.
Sorry to do this to you, Andrew, but we had like 2 more questions come in right as we started the outro. Great job, everybody. First one is, in your demo, you use Studio Architect. Is it also available in Pro Panel?
So there are packages available in Pro Panel. You would add the add-on of the PLC into your Pro Panel environment if it's something that you require. So yes, it's available.
That's our time for this episode. Hope you enjoy it.
I hope you enjoyed the demo. Be sure to stop by our ePlan Experience booth at the Rockwell Automation Fair at Home.